So much is expected this afternoon. Tottenham in a new strip for them. It's all white shirts with a navy blue collar, navy blue shorts but with a very original idea, a white arc on the outside of each leg, and the navy and white stockings. Forest in that familiar red shirts, white shorts and red stockings. Eric Hotspur, Eric the Viking they call him at White Hart Lane, clears from right to left. It drops inside the centre circle, driven forward by Gascoigne, but straight into the path of Lee Glover. Wide to Wone on the far side. His pass infield a little short. Gascoigne goes in very heavily on Gary Parker, and the referee goes across. There's no question that Gascoigne, as he was for the semi-final, is very hyped up for this game, but that was over the top on Gary Parker.
Yes, no question about that. It was a wild challenge by Paul Gascoigne there. Ian Wone sold Gary Parker short with a rather nervous first touch there, but it looks as though Parker's recovering. He's on his feet, and Tottenham will have to be wary that early hyped up sense of achieving good quick things like against Arsenal doesn't carry them forward too quickly.
Parker still receiving some attention from Liam O'Kane away in the far side of the field, just a few yards in from that far touchline, and Gascoigne is moved away. Roger Milford, if he has a word with Gascoigne, will make it sharp and short. He's doing that just at this minute. Gascoigne, no doubt, trying to explain away his action, but it was a very rash and a wild challenge from the Spurs midfield player. Parker seems to be okay, thankfully for Nottingham Forest, and Forest will have a free kick. It's 15 yards inside the Tottenham half on the far side, their left. Parker takes it short for Pearce. Played along the ground towards Glover, cleared by Tottenham, but Forest retained possession. Chettle to Parker, back to Chettle, wide to the near side. Good pass to Gary Charles, and Charles moved forward down this near flank, the Forest right. He's got Crosby close to him, tries to thread the ball through for Crosby. Edinburgh blocks the progress, but the referee has given the free kick to Nottingham Forest. Now this one's almost level with the edge of the Tottenham penalty area, near side, Forest right. Just 2 minutes gone in this cup final. Crosby will take the corner. Chettle's moved into the penalty area. Chettle almost got his head to the ball, and finally it's headed behind on the far side of the field by Pat van den Haar, and it will be a corner to Nottingham Forest, to be taken by Ian Wone. Now he's going to strike it left-footed, so it will certainly not be curling in towards goal. Towards the edge of the 6-yard box, headed away by Tottenham. Should be a shot coming in here from Gary Charles. It's well wide of goal, behind for a goal kick.
Rather optimistic, a good 30 yards out, but good early play by Forest. Chettle spreading the ball wide to Charles. Charles trying to combine with Crosby, and eventually, when they win the free kick, forcing a corner.
Just look at these Tottenham shorts, David. They're like something you'd expect to have seen the Austrians wearing in the 50s.
Yes,
very long and peculiar.
They've taken football back into the past. This is the commercial side of football, of course. I believe this is Tottenham's kit that they're going to have next season, and they're having it on display for the first time today.
Talking about strips, by the way, that lovely suit that the Forest manager, Brian Clough, had on for the presentation, well, he's taken the jacket off, and guess what he's wearing now? That familiar green top. His side of possession, near side of the field, they're right. Crosby is tackled well by Edinburgh, and then Forest win another free kick. This one for the challenge by Samways on Charles. Charles takes it quickly. It's intercepted by Sedgley. Here's Samways once more. And now that's another free kick awarded, this time for the challenge by Lee Glover. Too many stoppages to allow much flow into the game in these early moments. We played 4 minutes. It's Nottingham Forest 0, Tottenham Hotspur 0. Steve Sedgley in possession for Spurs, inside his own half. Looks up, directs it, left-footed deep, and the flag is up for offside against Gary Lineker. And there's no flow at the moment, David. It needs... Oh, I don't know what it needs. Well, just to get rid of the nerves. It'll take a while.
Yes, they need to get the ball being stroked about, both sides. Lineker up on his own for Tottenham. Alan Widish on the right. Paul Stewart dropping deep. Gascoigne dropping deep. Forest might find a problem later on how to pick up Gascoigne.
There's a good run by Samways, but Des Walker is his equal, is better indeed on that occasion, and he gets the ball back to Crossley, and Crossley throws it out early to this near side, and Charles, who moves inside the Tottenham half, and then is tackled by Gary Lineker. It'll be a throw into Forest, almost on the halfway line. Instruction screen from the Forest bench from Liam O'Kane. And Charles will take the throw. He's got Crosby just down the touchline. Gives it to Crosby. And Crosby turns away well from Gascoigne. Moves forward. Good run by Crosby. Then he runs into one white shirt. But Keane might win it back for Forrest near side. It's with Gary Parker. Clough goes to make the break on the edge of the penalty area. Parker keeps possession and then drives it towards his skipper, Pearce, on the far side of the field. Forrest left. Pearce plays it first time, and accurately first time. And it's gone out of play for a throw into Spurs. Taken by Van den Haag to Gascoigne's into the game early on for Tottenham Hotspur. Sedgley, edge of his own penalty area, wide to the near side, and Justin Edinburgh. Edinburgh forward to Gascoigne, still midway inside the Tottenham half. Slides it to his right to the captain, Mabbutt. Mabbutt to the far side to Van den Haag, who's played in 3 losing FA Cup finals for Everton. 65, 66, 65, 66. I'm making him slightly old, aren't I? 85, 86, and 89. Pat Van den Haag. Well, is it fourth time lucky for him? We'll know in about 85 minutes' time. Tottenham have a throw-in midway inside the Nottingham Forest half to our left. Spurs playing from right to left in this first half. It'll be taken by Edinburgh. Down to the feet of Gascoigne. He's quickly tackled and the ball is out of play once more. Another throw-in to Tottenham Hotspur. Sedgley comes up to take this one. It's level with the edge of the Forest penalty area, but Edinburgh ignores him. Throws the ball to Gascoigne and curls a shot in. And it was going towards goal. I'm sure Crossley had it covered, but Chettle made no mistake whatsoever. He cleared the danger, has to concede a corner. Gascoigne walks slowly towards this near side of the field. Roger Milford, who had the ball, gives it to him. Gascoigne still not showing any great hurry to get to the near side to take this corner. Right-footed. Now, have Spurs got the height up front? Mabbutt certainly up inside the penalty area, making a run now. Played towards the near post, though, the corner is, and headed behind once more. Stewart was the man who attempted to knock it on for Tottenham. He was denied by Chettle. So a second successive corner for Spurs. We've played 7 minutes, still no score. Gascoigne to take the corner. Samways makes the run to offer him the short option, but Gascoigne's going to head it long. Right-footed, deeper this time. Headed back across the goal. Chance here for Tottenham, but finally it's whipped high into the air. Forrest struggling to clear it, and the shot that came in the end from Steve Sedgley was high over the crossbar behind for a goal kick.
Spurs causing Forrest a little bit of trouble getting that ball away from the corner. Interesting to note, both sides with both playing without big men up front. Very rare for an English game, indeed a cup final, to be playing without any main strikers who are good at heading.
Gary Parker for Forrest from the goal kick. Chips it forward. Keane had made the run to the right-hand side of the penalty area. Denied by Paul Stewart, but Forrest had possession again. Gary Charles to Parker. Near side, Forrest right. Back to Charles. Good ball forward too. Glover can't control it. It's flicked clear by Sedgley. Gascoigne challenges Charles. Puts the ball out of play. And it will be another throw-in to Nottingham Forest. Gascoigne, well, backheels the ball. Well away from the Forest player. I think he knew what he was doing as well. Gascoigne, well, hype. It's been hype all season about Paul Gascoigne, and he's certainly hyped up for this game. We've played 8 minutes. No score in this cup final. Gary Charles to take the throw for Nottingham Forest. He's got Crosby hugging the near touchline. Forest right. Parker makes himself available inside. It's thrown longer, though, towards Clough, but headed away well by Sedgley. Lineker for Tottenham is tackled and unfairly tackled by Chettle, and it will be a free kick to Spurs.
There's a lot of confrontation in the midfield area at the moment, with Lineker left up on his own, and Glover playing a lone roll up for Forest, Clough playing slightly deeper. There's a lot of players in that midfield area, and as soon as anyone is getting a ball, there's a tackle coming in very quickly.
Mabbutt has gone deep into the Forest half, even though the free kick was taken short. Here's Samways looking to play the 1-2. It comes off with Lineker. Samways again. Near side, Spurs left. Faced by 2 defenders. Gives it back to Gascoigne. Mabbutt still upfield, lurking in the edge of the penalty area. Gascoigne in possession. Gives it back to Sedgley on the halfway line. Forward to Gascoigne again. He flicks it to his right towards Paul Allen. Should be intercepted by Wone. And here's Parker on the far side. Nottingham Forest left. He's tackled well, though, by Van den Haag. And Spurs have possession once more. Sedgley drives it forward. Stewart chases after it. Good defensive header by Walker to find his captain Pearce. And now taken up by Wone on the far side. Just crossing the halfway line now to the left of the centre circle. Poor pass straight to Sedgley. Spurs in possession. Gascoigne now on the far side of the field being tackled by Pearce. And Pearce brings him down. It will be a free kick to Tottenham Hotspur. Gascoigne gestures at Stuart Pearce as the Forest skipper went past. And this persistent chattering, and, well, we could do without it. Even in a cup final, even if he is hyped up. 10 minutes gone. No score. Free kick is taken by Samways to Gascoigne. Wide to Samways on the far side. Infield now to Allen. Back to Gascoigne. Just 10 yards inside the Nottingham Forest half. Gascoigne being harassed by Lee Glover, but directs a lovely pass to the far side. Van den Haag's made a good run. Turns inside one challenge, then a second, but Des Walker's challenge just did enough to put him off, and Pearce should clear towards the halfway line. Clough just lays it off to Glover. Glover couldn't pick up possession, and this is a good spell for Tottenham these last couple of minutes. They've had most of the possession. Stewart goes forward, is brought down inside the centre circle by Clough, and it will be a free kick to Tottenham Hotspur. Stewart took it quickly and is unhappy that the referee called him back, but the free kick was taken about 3 or 4 yards ahead of where it should have been. It's now taken correctly by Samways to Gascoigne. Wide again to Van den Haag. The cross is very, very deep, and Crossley just underneath his crossbar. Well, I thought he got his hands to the ball and directed it over, and so did Gary Lineker, but the referee's awarded a goal kick.
Well, Roger Milford was positioned well, right on the edge of the box, 18 yards away. The linesman made no motion either.
Here's Gascoigne for Tottenham now. Near side this time. He's all over the place, Gascoigne. No question about that. Samways to Gascoigne. To Lineker. Just to the left of the centre circle. Oh, good challenge by Nigel Clough. Clough brings it forward for Nottingham Forest. Sweeps it to the far side. Pearce will have to work hard to get there before Paul Allen. Oh, good play by Pearce. Just flicked the ball beyond Allen, and he's gained 10 yards. Stuart Pearce, midway inside the Tottenham half, hits it long. Keane comes out for it. So too does the keeper Torsved, and Torsved made it his.
That was really a fine save. He must have come 15 yards storming off his line to catch that ball right on the edge of his box, and he had to be so wary that he didn't carry the ball over the edge of the box to give Forest a free kick. Fine goalkeeping.
The sunshine that we were promised at Wembley this afternoon finally arrives. The grey clouds roll away, and now bright sunshine for this 110th FA Cup final as Forest attack. Glover just outside the penalty area to the left has made room for the cross, gets it in there, headed away by Mabbott, and it should be picked up now by Tottenham Hotspur. It's Paul Allen running towards this near side. Backheels the ball. Backheel Spurs into trouble. Crosby rushing towards the penalty area. Now inside the area. Around one defender. Can he pull the ball back? He can, but only into the arms of the goalkeeper.
Excellent play by Crosby. He burst past Edinburgh. Edinburgh couldn't catch him, and then he went into the box, and he did well to stay on his feet. If he would have gone down, there was a possibility there. Forest might have been the beneficiaries of a penalty.
13 minutes gone at Wembley. Nottingham Forest 0, Tottenham Hotspur 0. At Hampden, I can tell you, it's also scoreless between Motherwell and Dundee United. Parker for Nottingham Forest. Charles has made a good run forward. Good ball in field to Glover. Now Charles, edge of the penalty area, and he's brought down just on the edge of the D. And it was Gascoigne who made the tackle, and Gascoigne has hurt himself in the challenge. And immediately Roger Milford sensed there was something wrong because he called on the Tottenham physio immediately.
Yes, Charles just slightly overran the ball. There was nothing malicious in Gascoigne's challenge, that's for sure. Both players went down, but Gascoigne seems as though he's got the worst of it. But he might have just stunned the nerve. David Butler, the physio, is on immediately. I think they're both going to be all right.
Well, Gascoigne certainly looks in some pain out there. And he's lying out in the Wembley turf. Gloriously green Wembley turf, though you've got to say, looking around, is the odd little patch that shows that the American football that's been played here in recent weeks has had its effect. Gascoigne, I'm glad to say, is leaning forward now, and hopefully he'll be okay. But he's been involved in everything that Spurs have done these opening, 13, 14 minutes. A little over-aggressive, perhaps.
Well, that was a vital challenge. It was on the edge of his box. Charles is very quick, and I think Gascoigne thought when he first went for the ball he was favourite. But Charles just nicked it past him, and he got caught. But at the moment, there's a lot of fluidity about the play. Gascoigne's running all over the place. Allen's not really based on the right-hand side. And for Forest, they're also popping up in forward positions. There was Gary Charles, 30 yards from goal, making a break. So it looks as though there's going to be some good movement in this final.
There'll be a nervous few moments ahead for Tottenham Hotspur. The free kick for Nottingham Forest is on the edge of the D, and there's no question surely who's going to strike this. Stuart Pearce, the skipper, is up from the left back position. There are 5 players in the white Spurs wall, and the referee moves them back the full 10 yards. Now, Pearce, we know, can hit them. Torsfed, just a yard in front of his line, watching anxiously, waiting for the England left back to come forward. Here he is. Oh, magnificent strike! What a marvellous goal from Stuart Pearce. They knew it could happen, Spurs. They dreaded it, but it has happened for Nottingham Forest. And Stuart Pearce, with his 16th goal of the season, a magnificent 25-yard free kick, hit left-footed, puts Forest in front.
Well, how ironic. It was a Gascoigne challenge that led to the free kick. It was a magnificent strike. Tottenham had 6 men in the wall, and at the last second, Glover, the Forest player, placed in the wall, moved away, and there was that vicious, wicked effort that rose into the top of the net. What a start.
Gascoigne's gone down. He needs some more treatment. Well, that really was a magnificent free kick. I wasn't here to see the Gascoigne strike against Arsenal in the semi-final, but there is serious news for Tottenham. Not only have they gone a goal down, but Paul Gascoigne, who was injured in his challenge on Gary Charles that led to the free kick that led to the goal, it looks as if he may well be coming off for Tottenham. The substitute Naeem already has his tracksuit off, and we see the appearance of the stretcher. And this is to be Paul Gascoigne's last game for Tottenham Hotspur. What a very sad exit he's going to make. The stretcher is on, and whatever the injury, it's serious enough for Paul Gascoigne to say goodbye to this cup final.
Well, Tottenham have had such a beleaguered season in so many ways, and for the star in the crown to come to Wembley after all the hype and all the hopes that he was going to have a magnificent possible last game for Spurs, for him to be carried off early on, it just seems the fates are against Spurs at the moment. Venables will rearrange the side very quickly, and I'm sure now that Spurs will try and compress the space and try and push Forest backwards and close the midfield area much quicker and probably give Lineker more support.
The reception for the exit of Paul Gascoigne, whose cup final has lasted precisely 17 and a half minutes. Injured in the challenge he made on Gary Charles that led to a free kick that led to the goal that's put Nottingham Forest 1 goal up here in the cup final. Naeem is on, and we await the reorganisation of Terry Venables as Charles takes a throw in for Forest, and in the spirit that has been shown so often in our game this season, he throws the ball straight to Tottenham Hotspur. Spurs move forward now. What a blow that was, that Pearce free kick. Allen gives it away straight to Des Walker, and Walker clears inside the Tottenham Hotspur half. You know, when I came to do the cup final a couple of seasons ago, only one fullback, Shinwell, for Blackpool, had ever scored in a cup final at Wembley, and here we had Lee Martin last season for Manchester United in the replay. And you've got to say, the oh-so-predictable Stuart Pearce for Nottingham Forest.
Yes, well, when you've got someone who can slash the ball with that venomous power like Pearce, there's always a chance, anything around 25 yards from goal. But it really was such a fast, powerful shot that Forsfeld seemed as though he might get across to it, but the pure pace beat him.
Sadly, Gascoigne is being wheeled away on the stretcher, away to our left, and that's where the Nottingham Forest fans are, and I'm delighted to say that they're applauding Gascoigne, and the hundreds of photographers gathering round to record a picture that neither he nor the Spurs fans will really wish to see. Stuart Pearce, I'm told, was, would you believe, 16-1 with the bookmakers to score the first goal. I wish I'd known that.
You know, it's a strange thing, Alan. When they make these prices for people to score goals, sometimes defenders get the benefits of the free kicks and come in and head the corner kicks into goal. And they're quite high prices, I suppose.
Well, Steve Bruce was 14-1 in Rotterdam on Wednesday night, and I still give the goal to Steve Bruce, no matter what the press says. Here's Steve Chettle for Nottingham Forest. Forward to Clough. The layoff to Keane. Wide it comes towards the near side. It's intercepted by Edinburgh before Crosby can get there. The substitute Naeem sprints forward. He's tackled by Gary Charles, whose powerful run did so much to help provoke the free kick that led to the goal. Throw into Spurs, and now it's a free kick to Spurs for Glover's challenge on Stewart. Stewart takes it quickly. Now here's Samways, of whom so much will fall now for Tottenham Hotspur, now that Gascoigne has gone from the play. And Samways, who's always impressed me enormously when he's played for Tottenham Hotspur, he's going to have to take a lot on his shoulders.
He's a very fine player. He certainly would rather play infield than in the wide position on the left where he started this game. He's now got the mantle of making the play for Tottenham. A very good early passer, a fine left foot, a fine field for the ball. And I think he will relish the opportunity to show the Spurs supporters that he in his own way can link the game like Gascoigne does.
And someone who, if the clubs had agreed fees, would be playing, might well have been playing for Nottingham Forest in this final today. Almost went to the City ground earlier this season. Samways lays it off to Stewart. Forward it goes. The 1-2 play inside the Forest half now. And Spurs moving forward, but it breaks down as Allen runs into Chettle, and then the ball is deflected to Pearce, the goal scorer, and back to Crossley, who hasn't had a save to make yet, if we believe the referee, and not giving the corner a little earlier in the game. Pearce now for Nottingham Forest. Leaves it for Parker, who wants to see a lot of the ball too. He's wearing 8 like Gascoigne. He's as involved as Gascoigne was. That wasn't a good pass though. Spurs have it back. Lineker is tumbled over by Chettle. No fouls to the referee. Spurs still have possession. Stewart now to the right of the centre circle. Hits it wide. Here's Vandenhauwe, just a few yards inside Forest territory. Infield to Samways. Vandenhauwe runs down the right flank. Samways turns the other way. Gives it to Stewart. Stewart is tackled by 2 Forest players, and Forest bring it clear. But barring Clough, who's just run across the halfway line, all the Forest players were in their own half.
Forest must keep the ball now. It's so important that all the good values that Brian Clough preaches, using the depth and using the width of the field to maximum advantage. Now is the time, the next 10-15 minutes, that they must do those things. If they can keep the ball and dominate the game in a passing sense, it can make Spurs feel very flat, having lost their star player.
Ball is headed forward by David Howells. There's Stewart challenging forward inside the centre circle. Stewart again, tackled by Lee Glover. Stewart holds him off, brings it away for Tottenham, hits it long. Lineker's there, edge it just outside the penalty area. 2 defenders around him, tries to thread it through. Still the danger there. Samways inside the penalty area now. Ball driven low. Lineker will score. Lineker has scored. No, he hasn't. The flag is up for offside. Milford looked at the player, then he looked at the linesman. The flag was a little late being raised, but Lineker is offside. The goal doesn't count, and after a word on that from David Pleat, it will be Mike Ingham to take us through to half-time.
Well, Lineker certainly placed that ball in the net. He didn't think he was offside. It looked to me as though he came slightly from behind the Forest defender. He put it away as cool as a cucumber. Fine, easy finish from a good ball by Paul Allen. Forest will be lucky, I feel, when they look at the replay of that, possibly to have escaped.
The gods are not smiling on Tottenham Hotspur. They have a free kick now just inside the Nottingham Forest half, centre of the field. At least, though, that will have revived them, I think. The very fact that Lineker got in there to steer the ball past Crossley. Little unlucky when you look back at the replay. Lineker seemed to have timed his run just right. Free kick taken short. Vandenhauwe right-hand side. Clips the ball into the area. Des Walker jumps with Stewart. Comes out. Tottenham trying to batter the ball back in again. Mabbott decides to play a short one to this near side to Justin Edinburgh. Edinburgh, though, runs into Gary Crosby. And that's out of play for Nottingham Forest throw-in. Charles takes it, looks for Crosby on the halfway line. Hit away up in the air, though, by Naeem. It's in the centre circle. It's taken well by Paul Stewart, and he's back on the ball again now. Stewart. That's blocked by Parker, and now Nottingham Forest have a chance. Glover's getting held up short of the halfway line. Does well to slip around the challenge from Paul Stewart. And it's now with Nigel Clough, who's made a quiet opening, but that's a good ball forward for Parker. Excellent tackle coming in, though, by Naeem. And Spurs have another chance. They certainly have been pumped up. Stewart trying to play through the gap for Lineker. Chettle's in the way, and Walker clears accurately. Nice ball from Walker. Ian Woan now. Little bit of space. He's over the halfway line. Crosby screaming for it near side. He lays it left, gets it back from, and now it's through for Crosby. Crosby in the area. Left-footed shot, and saved by Torsved. That could so easily have been 2-0 to Forest. Brilliant goalkeeping, though, by Eric Torsved. And it's still 1-0 only. Stuart Pearce's goal. It's opening up beautifully. It's now Paul Allen for Spurs as they counter. Samways wide on the right, edge of the area, coming closer and closer towards that area. Pearce is getting in the way of Samways, and now he's blocking his vision. Samways drives the ball in, gets a little deflection, and Crossley's got it.
We've got real ebb and flow now. Crosby had a fantastic chance there. He brought it onto his left foot, Thorsfeld did very well to come out and block that ball, but Forest had a man over counter-attacking, and it was Glover that set up that ball for Crosby. A splendidly placed pass, which might have given Forest the opportunity to go further in front. That would be unfair on Spurs at this stage of the game.
25.5 minutes gone in the first half of the cup final. Nottingham Forest 1, Tottenham 0. And Paul Gascoigne's cup final lasted only 17.5 minutes. More on that in a moment. First, though, Nigel Clough for Forest. Clough spreads it wide for Wone. Wone comes drifting in field now. He's 25 yards or so out, the number 11. Chips it through, looks for Keane, and Keane is closely attended by Justin Edinburgh. And the ball eventually goes through to Thorsfeld, who throws well for Samways. Samways now scuttling through the centre circle. This is a good run from Samways. He's got Paul Allen available down the right-hand side, the man who put over that cross for Lineker when Spurs thought they'd equalised. Now Van den Houwe takes over. Van den Houwe steadies himself. Paul Allen makes the run, and Van den Houwe doesn't really get that one in. Nottingham Forest have got the players there to deal with that, and Gary Parker comes away with it for them. Plays it to Keane. Keane, the Irishman, now to Gary Crosby, near side of the field. Square ball back again for Parker. Parker, plenty of options open to him, and then Forest lose their way. Keane, a bad ball. Samways now looking to try and release Lineker down the left-hand side. He's all on his own. He needs players to get forward to support him. Drives it square for Samways, who's having a good game here. Samways back to Naeem. Naeem shot, it's off Chettle. Samways again Chettle gets the block in. Now Naeem taking on Charles on the edge of the area. Flicks it back to Lineker. High ball comes into Lineker, and the diving header at the far post by Paul Allen is saved at the near post by the goalkeeper Crosley.
What a fine early ball by Lineker, beyond everyone. Pearce was desperately looking at the ball as it sailed over his head. Allen came in with a flying header, and it more or less hit Crossley. But a fine save, give him credit for that. Good attack, though.
Des Walker, who could so easily have become a Spurs player, London player, just like Stuart Pearce and Gary Charles in that Nottingham Forest defence. Walker sensibly showing his international calibre, just taking time now to build slowly from the back and give it to the man who scored that goal thunderously, Stuart Pearce. Pearce for Parker. It's a bit tight for Forest over on the far side, and Tottenham tackles come in from Van den Houwe, and then he's lost out and Glover's going clear. Glover, Wone, Glover again inside the area, tackled by Van den Houwe. Good tackle as well. And Roger Milford just looks round as both players get to their feet. He's happy everything's okay at the back, and now he watches Spurs. They're playing, oh, now Naeem can't just quite stretch to meet that one on the near side. And Naeem, by the way, just in case you've joined us, has come on for Gascoigne. He was carried off on a stretcher here. He never recovered. He fouled Charles. He dived into the tackle on the edge of the area. He was injured in the incident. Pearce then scored the goal with a wonderful free kick. Little ironic that Spurs should concede a goal like that at Wembley, remembering that Gascoigne, of course, sent them on their way with a free kick in the semi-final against Arsenal. Naeem has come on for Gascoigne. Spurs have had a goal disallowed. Lineker for offside. And Vinnie Samways now with big responsibility on his shoulders, tries to carry the ball into the Forest half. He's caught late there, and Nigel Clough, the man who fouled him, has also come off the worst from that particular challenge. But Nigel Clough doesn't need attention. He gets to his feet, and Spurs have a free kick 10 yards inside the Nottingham Forest half. No score at Hampden in the Scottish Cup final between Motherwell and Dundee United. Still 0-0 there. We have a goal here. Forest lead 1-0. And now Tottenham's free kick from Samways, looking for Paul Stewart. It comes out to David Howells, who swings the right foot at that. And that's gone halfway back between the goal and the tunnel. That is going to be a goal kick to Nottingham Forest. David Cleat.
Normally a very fine volleyer is David Howells, but he didn't quite get his timing right on that one. Tottenham are hustling very well. Forest are trying to play patiently with a simple passing game, but Tottenham are very hustling very well, and they have picked up the pace of the game since Gascoigne's departure.
Well, they did say that it would end in tears, one way or the other here, because many people thought this would be Paul Gascoigne's last match anyway for Spurs. Nobody could have anticipated the manner of his departure, though, on a stretcher here. And as Forest clear, the ball is with Crosby near side. This is the Forest right in the first half. Glover working hard. Clough and Parker try to combine. Spurs smothering in well there in the tackle. And now David Howells in a more defensive role. Howells pushes the ball to Van den Houwe, who tries to go charging over the halfway line. But good work by Wone to check in full stride. Wone gets the ball down the line for Glover. Mabbutt is going across, and the ball is out of play. And Forest think it's their throw, but it's not. It's a Spurs throw. And when Stuart Pearce, by the way, cracked in that goal from 20 yards, everybody on the Forest bench, apart from one person, got up and punched the air. That one person was the man who's sitting down there in the green jumper, arms folded, Brian Clough. But the passion that must have been burning inside, he must have wanted to get up, but he showed his restraint as Pearce scored. And that's the dividing mark between these two sides at the moment. Forest 1, Tottenham 0, but still an awful lot of football to be played in the 1991 Cup final. An hour to go yet at Wembley. The ball is inside the Forest half. It's now on the halfway line. David Howell's right-hand side waits for that to go out of play. And he's got the throw-in. And Van den Houw doesn't want to be a loser again for the 4th time here today. Throws it back to the man who was a loser last time and scored at both ends, Gary Mabbutt, when David Pleat, of course, was the Spurs manager. Now Sedgley, who was a substitute that day for Coventry. Long ball left-footed, a little aimless in the end. No chance for Lineker. And Mark Crossley's got it and bounces it. The man that's keeping Steve Sutton out of this Forest team. Pearce now. Pearce for Walker. Walker all on his own. Chettle seems to be taking Lineker a lot of the time. Now Glover. Glover can't go around the challenge from Mabbutt. Spurs now trying to release Paul Allen, wide on the right. Van den Houw, though, hits it straight at Lee Glover, and he gets the throw-in down the far side for Tottenham Hotspur. I can't help thinking about what Terry Venables said about Gascoigne this week. He said, no player has had to suffer so much in such a short space of time. I feel sorry for him. What must he be feeling for Gascoigne right now? Spurs, though, have come back well from that disappointment. Stewart now does well, flips it through for Lineker. Lineker goes round the goalkeeper, and that must be surely a penalty to Spurs. Crossley brings Lineker down, and Roger Milford goes straight into that penalty area, and Spurs have the penalty. Paul Stewart getting the congratulations for playing the ball through for Lineker. Lineker went through, Crossley died at his feet, the player went over, and Roger Milford decides that that is a penalty. And so Gary Lineker, who scored in the 1986 final for Everton against Liverpool, has the chance now to equalise with a penalty here for Spurs. And it's saved by Crossley. It is not going Tottenham's way at all. Lineker's penalty. Crossley dived the right way. He turns it round, and it's a corner kick to Spurs over on the right-hand side of the field. And Lineker, normally Mr. Cool, misses a penalty. The Tottenham corner comes in. It's headed away by Pearce. Stewart plays it back into the area. Walker's there for Forest. And now Clough for Crosby. Spurs will have to be careful not to be caught on the counter. Crosby's injured. Still Spurs trying to attack. Paul Stewart battling not only for himself but also for his mate Gascoigne, you sense here. And that's out of play, and now Crosby can be attended to, and Motherwell 1, Dundee United 0 is now the latest score in the Scottish Cup final. The goal from Ian Ferguson, treatment being given here to Gary Crosby, but Gary Lineker, the man who has this love affair with Wembley normally, the man who put away those 2 penalties in the World Cup quarter-final against Cameroon, has missed here for Spurs, and Forest still lead. David Pleat.
Well, it's quite a remarkable game. There's so much happening. It was a very fine ball that put Lineker in against Crossley. There was no question about it being a penalty. Lineker stepped back confidently. Crossley threw himself to his right to save that ball. And it's just a strange quirk of coincidence, really. Some referees might just have decided that Crossley prevented a goal-scoring chance and might have, in their cruelty, sent him off the field.
Right, Spurs have taken a throw-in, and Gary Mabbutt hammers that in from 20 yards, and Crossley's in the middle of his goal, making another save 3 yards out. And that is only the second time that a penalty's been missed here at Wembley in an FA Cup final, of course. John Aldridge missed one for Liverpool against Wimbledon, remember, when Big Dave Besant was in the goal. And now Lineker has the dubious distinction of emulating John Aldridge, and Nottingham Forest still lead here by 1-0. But what drama we've had already inside the first 35 minutes at Wembley. A Forest goal. Gascoigne's left the field. Lineker had a goal disallowed, and he's now missed a penalty, and we've only played 35 minutes. And the ball is now down the far side of the field. That's the Tottenham Hotspur right, and Gary Mabbutt hammers that into the crowd over on the far side. Of course, there's also much speculation that Gary Lineker could be leaving Spurs as well at the end of this season. This could be one of his last games, they're saying, for Spurs. If it is, well, he'll want to try and rectify that mistake in this final. Forest again now. Parker, 25 yards out, that's high. And Eric Torsved just has a calming word with his defenders. They managed to close down Parker there. The ball goes behind his goal. And those Spurs fans behind Torsved's goal must be wondering what it is all about. 36 minutes gone, their team lead 1-0. They could so easily, though, be not only level, they could be leading 2-1 now. But they're not, they're behind. Torsved now, who made his debut for Spurs against Nottingham Forest. Clears from right to left into the Forest half. Ball is out of play, far side, and we're just getting a flash from the dressing room that Paul Gascoigne has right knee ligament trouble, and he's being x-rayed on that right now. Well, if he is going to go to Lazio, that could cause a complication or two. But now Spurs back with the game today, the one that matters. Stewart tackled well by Nigel Clough. He does do that so well, helping out his defenders, Clough. And now with the very talented Gary Charles steaming forward near side, asking Crosby to come towards him. Crosby lays it back to Charles. Vigorous challenge on him by a couple of Spurs players there. Both Edinburgh and Naeem really sandwiched Crosby. And that's going to be a Nottingham Forest free kick on the near side. Roger Milford needing all of his recognised ability here in this game. And Forest have the free kick. 3 or 4 yards inside the Tottenham half. Down this near side of the field. Gary Charles making signs to Lee Glover and Nigel Clough. I think he's asking them to come a little closer. He looks for Clough. Clough off balance, though, against David Howells. Both players miss it. Eric Torsved's got it.
An unusual ball there. Charles hitting the ball high towards Nigel Clough. Most of the play has been controlled. It's been along the floor, passing the ball, both sides. A good game of passing.
Now Spurs. Stewart again looking for Lineker. Lineker goes into the area, but this time it was just a couple of yards too far in front of him. And Crossley came roaring off the line anyway to get there first. But Paul Stewart has now played through a couple of very dangerous passes. First one, of course, set up the penalty. But now Tottenham have to be careful as Parker, though, runs straight into Sedgley. And Spurs trying to combine, but they lose their way. Clough playing very deep. Hits a delightful crossfield pass, and Crosby's got it for Forest. Crosby now just inside the area. Square ball to Parker. Parker tried to flick it on for Glover. Van den Hauwe not taking any chances at all. Hits that behind his line for a corner kick to Forest. Down the near side. The man to be taken by the young man that Martin O'Neill, of course, recommended to Nottingham Forest when he was at Grantham, Gary Crosby. Crosby had a chance here to score a second goal for Forest, but it's 1-0. Crosby's corner, near post, comes out to Keane, and that's over the bar from 10 yards. Keane couldn't keep it down, looks a little rueful, and Eric Torsved has another goal kick.
He'll be disappointed with that, will Roy Keane. As you quite rightly say, Gary Crosby, I feel at the moment, has got the ascendancy over Justin Edinburgh. He got away from him early in the game. I think Edinburgh is a young player, and he just might get a little bit excitable and try and get too tight to Crosby at times and unnecessarily foul.
39 minutes gone in the cup final of 1991. Nottingham Forest lead by 1-0. But that doesn't really tell half the story. Pearce got the goal. Gascoigne's been carried off. He's having an x-ray on knee ligament trouble. Lineker's missed a penalty. He's had a goal disallowed. Spurs are playing well at times. They're causing problems for Forest in that penalty area. But this time again, they slightly overreached themselves. And Mark Crossley gathers it up. And then under instruction, gets it back again from Gary Charles. And then there's the safety first and sensible ball out for Pearce. And now Walker and Forest picking up the momentum again from the back. Walker looks towards Crosby near side, then he decides to go down the centre, but he hits it straight at Samways. Samways is working tirelessly out there for Tottenham Hotspur, but he now has given it away. And Forest now trying to work a position down the near side. Edinburgh, though, just belts that one away. Not very constructive, that, though, from the Spurs fullback, and it gives it back again to Forest. This sweet passing team, Forest. Parker for Pearce, halfway line. Left-hand side and left-footed ball, but Parker waited for it, and Van den Hauwe came crunching in, and then the ball is just skied to the far side of the field. Long run there for Van den Hauwe to take a Spurs throw.
I think Terry Venables is very aware now to try and keep a tight ship until half-time. He's dropped Howells back into the defence, and in effect Tottenham now are playing with 5 defenders. Howells is marking Clough, Mabbott is playing spare, and Sedgley is still in the back group as well.
Paul Allen, youngest player ever to play in a cup final back in 1980, doing well down that far side, forcing Stuart Pearce back in defence and winning a throw-in. And Pat Van den Hauwe, the man to take it. 20 yards or so from the corner flag, the Spurs right. Looks like this could be a long one as Paul Stewart makes a late run into the penalty area. Only Sedgley really staying back. A looping throw from Van den Hauwe, a back header from Paul Stewart. Lineker turns. Crossley makes the save, but the whistle's gone. Referee didn't like something there. That's a free kick to Nottingham Forest.
There's some good space developed in the middle of the field. That's what is making this game such an attractive game to watch. Both sides, when they get the ball, have plenty of passing opportunities. It's not a tight game. I was a little bit worried before the game that Terry Venables might try and condense the space and compress Forest, but he hasn't done that. Both teams are playing open football.
And just watching Stuart Pearce, one of the most important players in Brian Clough's team, he also seems to be not moving 100% at the moment. He looks to be carrying some sort of knock he's got in this game as well, which would also be a little alarming too for Graham Taylor later in the week. But in this game, Pearce now, I wonder whether Venables might sense that and perhaps ask Spurs to give a little bit more of the ball to Paul Allen over the next few minutes. In the meantime, though, as Gary Crosby tries to go round Justin Edinburgh, that's a late and poor challenge from Justin Edinburgh in the cup final. That's a free kick to Nottingham Forest, just short of the halfway line, and Gary Charles, the man to take it. Charles for Glover. Sedgley comes straight through on Glover and concedes the free kick just inside the Spurs half, with 3.5 minutes left of the first half, and Pearce stays in the centre circle. No attempt to come across or anything and take care of the free kick. Forest play it short. Glover now looking to find Parker. That's a poor one from Glover, and Eric Torstved's got it.
Tottenham are conceding too many free kicks at this moment. Forest naturally play the ball into feet, up to Glover, up to Clough's feet, into Crosby's feet, and there's a danger that Tottenham try and get too tight and give away too many free kicks by impetuous tackling.
The royal guests watch. The Princess of Wales sitting next to the Nottingham Forest chairman, Maurice Roworth. I'm sure that she'll be disappointed that Paul Gascoigne hardly got going, really, in this FA Cup final. But his one real major contribution cost his team a goal. His foul on Charles produced the free kick, and Pearce unleashed a tremendous, typical Pearce effort from 20 yards for his 16th goal of the season. And Stuart Pearce goes across now to the far side of the field to take a throw-in for Forest with a couple of minutes left of this first half. But, of course, time to be added on for the injury to Gascoigne. Can Spurs come back in these last moments of the first half? Naeem, a long ball, doesn't quite run for Lineker. Beautifully anticipated by Des Walker, his England colleague. And now Forest coming towards this near side. Keane, though, beaten by two Spurs players. Spurs play good football in a tight position. Lineker can't turn it round for Sedgley, though. Chethel's challenge on Lineker has grounded the England captain. Lineker gets to his feet slowly. Forest spread the ball wide now to the far side to Ian Wone. Left-footed stuff from Wone. Clough rather waited, and Mabbott was straight in on Clough. And now Samways, impressively trying to dictate in midfield. Samways with a good ball to the far side. This will test Pearce. Oh, Pearce got back all right against Van den Houw and snaked the left leg in there to make the challenge, and Tottenham's throw-in has already been taken. Samways for Stewart. Stewart probing well from midfield. That's a poor one this time, though, from Stewart. Gobbled up by Walker on the edge of the area, and Forest set off again from back inside their own half. Parker spins 360 degrees, and now Clough. Centre circle. Buzz goes up from the Forest fans as Clough finds Crosby. Charles goes breaking forward, but Crosby holds. Crosby tries to set it up for Clough, and Clough is furious with him. Left it short, and Spurs can counter. Paul Allen to Paul Stewart. Just inside the Forest half. Lineker wide on the near side. He goes looking for Allen, and the Roy Keane coming in there to take it away from Paul Allen. Hit it meaterly back towards his goalkeeper, who was only 2 or 3 yards away. It fell correctly for them both, though, and Crosby's got it 15 yards or so from his goal.
Some of Forest's passing when they get into the Tottenham half has been slightly careless, and Tottenham have broke very well. Stewart and Allen have both made good forward runs, so has Lineker. Walker, Des Walker that is, has been a rock at times covering for Forest at the back. I feel that when Forest go forward, maybe Parker should hold at times, or indeed Keane, and share the work out. But when they attack, they're both going forward and joining in, and they're leaving the back four slightly exposed.
Half-time in Scotland. Motherwell lead in 1-0 against Dundee United in the Battle of the Macleans. You'll be hearing more about that in just a few moments' time during half-time here at Wembley. Not much left of the first half now. Just 10 seconds of normal regular time, plus the time to be added on by Roger Milford for the Gascoigne injury. Forest now. Crosby, near side of the field. Crosby taking on Justin Edinburgh, getting close to the dead ball line, and there was shirt pulling by both players there, but the referee and linesman between them decide to give Spurs the advantage, and even better refereeing than that, they keep the game moving because Spurs have got the ball, and it's back again with their Norwegian, Eric Torstvedt, who's made one very important save to deny Gary Crosby. Injury time now. being played in the first half of the cup final. Nottingham Forest 1, Tottenham minus Paul Gascoigne 0. Stuart Pearce the goal scorer. Sedgley, left-footed and long, but not long enough for Lineker. Easily taken by Pearce. Accurately now for Keane. Keane slips it nicely to the far side to Wone. Forest passing the ball neatly around in midfield and then back again to Pearce. Ever available down that far side. Chettle now, just short of the halfway line. Back again to Keane. Keane moves into the Spurs half. Close attention from Paul Stewart, but Forest keep the possession. It's worked out wide now from Wone. Slow movement from Wone, then a little bit of a burst. Then he tries to play it through for Glover, and Parker get in each other's way. Just on the edge of the area, and Spurs take control again. We've played over a minute now of added time in this first half. A little passing word there from Roger Milford to Pat Vanden Hauwe, and it's back again with Torsved. Releases from right to left. Naeem and Charles chase the loose ball on this near side. That's gone off Gary Charles, and that's a Spurs throw-in. Naeem, the substitute, throws it. Edinburgh tries to get down the line. Charles is there, and Spurs have gained good ground down this near side. Closer and closer towards the corner flag they go, and they have a throw-in. Justin Edinburgh, playing in the 4th division just a year ago, throws the ball and allows Sedgley now to hurl this one in from the near side, deep into added time in the first half. Sedgley's throw, one in the air by Keane, stabbed back by Edinburgh to Sedgley. Sedgley's cross, and that's too near Mark Crossley, I think. 7 yards out, and he just holds on to it. Forest have no sort of a shape at the moment, so he doesn't release it. And Roger Milford goes across to Mark Crossley and says, I'll have the ball, please, because we've played 2 minutes of added time. That's all I want to play. That is half-time. Forest lead 1-0. But what a first half. David Pleat.
Yes, indeed, an incredible first half. The goal by Stuart Pearce, and we'll hear what David Pleat has to say about the whole game later on, because we'll be back at Wembley for all...
Left. And let me quickly run down the two lineups again. Forest have Crossley in goal. Their back four, Charles, Walker, Chettle and Pearce. In midfield, Crosby, Keane, Parker and Wone. Up front, Clough and Glover. Tottenham with Torsved in goal. Their defenders, Vanden Hauwe, Mabbott, Sedgley and Edinburgh. In midfield, in the absence of Gascoigne now, it's Allen, Naeem, Howells, Stewart and Samways. Up front, Lineker. The one remaining substitute for Tottenham is Paul Walsh. For Nottingham Forest, Steve Hodge and Brian Laws. The ball is out of play, near side of the field. It'll be a throw-in to Tottenham, which will be taken by Pat Vanden Hauwe. It's won by Nottingham Forest. Here's Glover now. Glover turns away from Vanden Hauwe. Vanden Hauwe was injured in that. Glover now, just to the left of the penalty area. Stewart is tackling back well, and Stewart does very well to win possession once more for Tottenham Hotspur. Allen to Vanden Hauwe, back to Stewart, still deep inside his own half. Curls a good pass to the near side of the field to Allen, who couldn't quite collect it from Stuart Pearce, and then fouls Pearce, then tries to foul Walker as well, and it will unquestionably be a free kick to Nottingham Forest. 2 minutes gone in the second half at Wembley. Nottingham Forest lead 1-0. Scored by the man who's just taken that free kick, Stuart Pearce, their captain. It's hard now by this near touchline, the Forest left, and Ian Wone moving infield, looking to play the 1-2 with Clough. It's worked. Wone's inside the penalty area, tackled well by Sedgley. Ball still could break for Keane. Tries to chip it over the goalkeeper, and it's cleared by Tottenham, out of play on this near side of the field. And Roy Keane was very close to putting Forest 2-0 up. They survive to Tottenham Hotspur. Pearce takes the throw to Wone. Forward to Wone again from Pearce. Edge of the penalty area, curls the shot in with the outside of his left foot without the pace to trouble Torsved, and Torsved throws quickly to the far side of the field, and eventually it's hit back by Nottingham Forest, and it will be a goal kick to Tottenham. David.
Yes, when that ball bounced up almost agonisingly towards Keane, Thorsfeldt hesitated just for that brief second, and I think it was David Howells that got that ball away and fought quickly and covered the ground for Tottenham. A very important clearance.
Howells with a vital clearance for Tottenham Hotspur, though his team trailed by 1-0. The Spurs fans still in quiet mood, as well they might be. They're to our right, Forest to the left. And Spurs have a free kick, just 20 yards inside the Nottingham Forest half. Mabbott, the captain's come up from the back. It's not played to him, though. Played to the edge of the penalty area. Back heel, hoping to find Naeem, the substitute, but it only finds Des Walker instead. But a mistake by Crossley. I think he was watching Naeem, who was close by, forgot to collect the ball, and he's let it run over the goal line for a corner kick to Tottenham.
I think there's some surprises, some more in store, Alan. That was quite remarkable, loss of concentration by Mark Crossley.
Naeem's corner, right-footed, hit deep. Sedgley gets the header in, but without the direction, and it's gone behind for a goal kick. And won't Mr. Crossley be relieved?
Well, he just took his eye off the ball, and Brian Clough won't be too happy with that start to the second half. Giving a corner away, an unnecessary corner. Forest can't afford to concede free kicks or corners. They've just got to get the ball and get calm and start passing the ball, and they must have territorial possession this half. They must keep that ball and make Tottenham do the running. Forest are in the driving seat.
Crosby for Forest, back to Walker, and Walker hits it some 30 yards back to the Nottingham Forest penalty area to our right, and Mark Crossley. Crossley, the only ever present in this Forest team this season, hits the ball inside the Spurs half. Spurs have possession. Edinburgh chips it forward, left-footed. Naeem's being asked to do rather a lot to chase on the far side of the field, and Charles just runs over the ball, lets it go out of play. Throw into Nottingham Forest, level with the edge of their own penalty area. On their right flank. Good long throw from Charles. Almost bounces once and then crosses the halfway line. Forest have it. Here's Roy Keane. I can tell you that at Hampden Park, we've an equaliser. It's Motherwell 1, Dundee United 1. Dave Bowman with the equaliser for United. Vandenhaar launches the ball forward. Lineker chases. Walker is there. So too is Charles. And Charles directs it safely back to Crossley.
Three of the quickest players in the English game there in that challenge. The ball lofted over. Lineker chased by Walker. And there was Gary Charles coming back to intercept.
This is a good run by Crosby, but his final pass wasn't so good. It's cleared, partially cleared by Tottenham. And then it's hit back by Nottingham Forest, and Thorstvedt has to come out to the right edge of his penalty area to gather the ball with two red shirts in close attention. He wins, chips it quickly to Vandenhaar. Vandenhaar plays it inside the Forest half. Walker is there. Walker is tackled by Allen. Ball breaks to Lineker. Samways has made a good run. Allen tries to feed Samways, but there was Gary Charles, that quick little right back you were talking about, just into the England tour squad for the Far East Australia. And he showed one of the reasons why with that pace to make the interception.
Two fine covering interceptions in the space of a minute.
6 minutes gone in the second half. Nottingham Forest 1, Tottenham Hotspur 0. Crossley with a long clearance for Forest. Sedgley lets it go over his head, and it bounces a couple of times. Sedgley turns to collect it inside his penalty area. Plays it to the left to Edinburgh, who's had a fairly torrid first half, trying to look after Crosby. His long clearance, won back by Nottingham Forest. It's Crosby to Glover. Glover turns away from the challenge. Crosby's available to the right. Glover plays it left. Wone moves infield now, rushing at the defence. He shows a little bit too much of the ball to Gary Mabbott, and Tottenham bring it clear. It's a good run by Mabbott, though. He's going to meet his opposite number, his skipper, Pearce, and Pearce knocks it out of play on the far side of the field, and he didn't like Mabbott leaving his leg in there, and Pearce just expressed the odd gentle reprimand to Gary Mabbott.
He knows the situation.
Here is Mabbott once more, inside the centre circle. Plays it to his left to Sedgley. Sedgley looks up, hits it long. Stewart will chase. Pearce trips over, but the pace of the ball beats Stewart. It's with Crossley and quickly thrown out to Gary Parker, crossing the halfway line now. 10 yards to his left, it goes to Wone. Near side, Forest left. Wone moving infield. The layoff to Glover, just on the edge of the penalty area. Oh, well tackled by Sedgley. Sedgley brings it clear for Tottenham. Finds Allen's got a little bit of room. Sandwich is making the break. Allen's moving inside. Gets a rather forced deflection from Parker. Almost fell to Sedgley. Runs out of play. Throw into Spurs. Spurs fans increase their voices. It's with Stewart. Forward to the edge of the penalty area. To Allen. Allen can't get the power in the cross as he tried to play it into the penalty area. It was met by Keane and given back to Crossley. And a few players having words with the referee. Samways is going to cross. Glover's going to cross. I don't know what they're talking to him about. Maybe just asking what he's doing for the evening. Would he like to come to the celebrations? Wherever those celebrations will be held. Will they be Forest or will they be Tottenham's? 8 minutes gone in the second half. Forest still lead by that Stuart Pearce goal after a quarter of an hour. A quite stunning free kick that beat Eric Thorstvedt. Here Forest have possession once more. Keane, oh, good play by Keane. Finds Clough. Parker midway inside the Spurs half. Running towards the penalty. Shoots low. It's wide of goal. Goes to a few yards to the right of Thorstvedt's upright behind for a goal kick. Steve Hodge, I noticed, is limbering up along the touchline. Possible change by Cloughy, David?
Well, I'm not quite sure yet, but before the 90 minutes are up, he will be introduced, I'm pretty sure of that. I feel that Wone on the left-hand side is doing an adequate holding job. He's neat and tidy with the ball, but I don't think he's quite got Hodges' energy or explosion when in possession.
Clough for Forest finds Glover, and Glover looks forward, and he sees a lot of space available down the left flank, and he occupies it now. Mabbutt comes across. Glover plays it infield to Wone, moving towards the edge of the penalty area. He's been one challenge. He can't beat Sedgley. The ball rebounds to Pearce. Pearce hits it wide again to Glover. Glover is tackled quickly by Paul Allen. It goes out of play, and despite Allen's protests, it will be a throw-in to Nottingham Forest. Parker and Wone and Glover all in close attention. The ball is thrown to Wone, laid wide again to Pearce, who measures the cross. It's deep, and it's headed over the bar by Keane. It took a deflection off, was it Sedgley in the end? I'm not sure whether it was Sedgley or Edinburgh. They both went for the ball along with Roy Keane. The result is a corner to Nottingham Forest.
Yes, it was a wicked curving cross by Pearson. Keane arrives so well into the box, and of course he's got terrific spring and he jumps well.
Wone to take the corner. Left-footed, played towards the near post, headed high by Sedgley. Pearce knocks it back inside the area. Clough went for it. Torsved won it. Torsved moves out towards the edge of his penalty area. Everyone else retreats towards the centre circle. Groups around the halfway line. Torsved clears long. It's knocked forward by Naeem. Picked up well by Allen. That was good control. He's got Stewart available inside the penalty area. Stewart scores and equalises for Tottenham Hotspur. Stewart, who got their opening goal of the campaign at Blackpool and hasn't scored since, chooses his moments well. A lovely right foot strike, beautifully set up by Paul Allen. It's 1-1.
Fine shot right into the corner, giving Crossley no chance. Once again, Tottenham engineered a move where they got a man over and they hit it fiercely into the far corner. A fine interception by Paul Allen in the first place. He made ground quickly and passed the ball at exactly the right time. I'm quite sure now Spurs will be really on their toes and probably looking to introduce Walsh to really get at the Forest at this good time.
Walsh, with that long, flopping, fair hair, is sprinting up and down the touchline. He can't wait to make an entry for Tottenham Hotspur, who, despite everything going against them seemingly in this game, the injury to Gascoigne being stretchered off, the goal that Lineker might have had, he looked onside, it was called offside, and then the missed penalty by Lineker. Well, despite all that happening to them, they're back level in this game, and we've still got 33 minutes left for play. Sedgley directs it forward to the far side of the field. Lineker chases after it. It's hit out of play. Lineker's was the last touch. He looks right to the referee and says, I didn't touch it, Your Honour. I really didn't touch it. But it's nevertheless Nottingham Forest throw. Now they've got it near side. Pearce, the captain, moves gingerly forward. Flicks it to his right to Parker. He's got a little bit of room just on the edge of the centre circle. Parker checks once more. Gives it to Pearce. Both Charles and Walker available to his right. It's fed to Charles, still inside the Forest half. Further right it goes to Crosby. Edinburgh comes in quickly, then almost stumbles, but Edinburgh wins the ball for Tottenham. Moves inside the Nottingham Forest half, gives it to Lineker. Lineker tries to give it back to Edinburgh, but there's Charles tackling back again. He looks a very cool young man, does Gary Charles, and he gives it back to Crossley, who throws quickly to the far side of the field. Crosby, infield to Keane. Keane being harassed. Gets it back to Charles. Charles forward to Walker, and certainly Forest need to keep possession over these few minutes just to control their nerves. Pearce, near side, chips it to Wone, hugging this near touchline. The Forest left. Tries to play an ambitious ball infield to Clough. There were two white shirts between him and Clough. One of them got it back, but it's back with Nottingham Forest again. Clough, lovely ball to the far side in Crosby. In space, Naeem has to sprint back to make the challenge. Oh, that's a dreadful challenge. Referee rightly waves play on. Crosby keeps coming forward. Then he runs into Edinburgh, and there was no justice there for Nottingham Forest. Naeem takes it up again. He was the guilty party. I'm sure the referee at some stage will have a word with our Spanish colleague. Here is Naeem on the halfway line. Tries to thread the ball through to Paul Allen. Chettle's tackling back well, and Chettle has won the throw-in off Paul Allen.
Paul Allen is really running enthusiastically from midfield to try and get there and support Lineker. Lineker wants the team to push towards him a little bit. He doesn't want to get isolated. And Tottenham are really working very hard. And for the first time in the game, you wouldn't know where to place your money.
Throw-in is taken by Nottingham Forest. Edinburgh just watches it. It bounces into play and then out of play again. And it will be a Tottenham throw, which is taken by Edinburgh. Back to Sedgley, just inside the Spurs half. It's chipped forward 30 yards. Naeem challenges for the ball, but it falls to Roy Keane. Wide to Charles. Charles just plays it right-footed carefully into the Tottenham half, where it's won by Paul Stewart. Scorer of the equalising goal. Stewart finds Samway. Samway sprints down the left side. Good ball infield to Stewart. Edge of the penalty area. Stewart still going forward until finally it's stabbed away from his feet by Keane. Tottenham win it back though. And the referee allows play to go on despite the foul challenge on Lineker. Vandenhuyse, 35 yards from goal. Forward to Lineker. He tried to lay it off. He couldn't beat the combined presence of Walker and Pearce. And it's back with Crossland.
Lineker's doing tremendous little runs. Deft little runs across the backs of defenders, and he's really giving it a really hard, determined, fast effort up front. He must be very, very tired, even this early in the game.
Naeem penalised on that occasion for the foul on Clough. Forrest take the free kick quickly. Referee allows play to go on. Charles fed it on to Crosby. Crosby tripped over unluckily, and may have got hurt in the challenge by Justin Edinburgh. The ball was out of play. Crosby gets to his feet. He's okay. Forrest had the throw-in. Taken quickly. Forward it goes to Keane. Clough waited for the ball. Tottenham didn't, and Tottenham bring it clear. And Clough is pulling Stewart back. Referee allows play to go on once more. Stewart finds Allen, right side of the penalty. Oh, wonderful challenge by Pearce. My goodness, he made that his ball. I think Allen had a yard start on him, but Pearce made it his. Throw in nevertheless to Tottenham. Vandenhuyse takes it. Onto the chest of Samways, down to his feet, near side, Tottenham right. Good ball infield to Mabbutt, the captain, up from the back. Leaves it for Allen. Allen hits it wide to Vandenhuyse. Vandenhuyse, faced by Wone, turns it onto his left foot, crosses high. It'll probably reach Edinburgh on the far side of the field. Edinburgh made sure it reached him, but then was a little ambitious as he tried to sprint beyond Crosby and only ran the ball behind for a goal kick.
I think Brian Clough will be slightly perturbed at the influence that Vincent Samways is having on the game at the moment. He's passing the ball very accurately. He's getting the ball up to Lineker. He's receiving it back. There's good breaks from midfield from Stewart and Paul Allen. And at the moment, Forest are definitely suffering because Tottenham have got the bit between the teeth. And I would assume that Brian Clough might make a substitution just to shake things up.
Spurs have it near side, they're right. Allen working tremendously hard, turns away from Wone. Wone brings him down. Free kick. Taken by Vinnie Samways. I'm hearing news from Hampden Park that it's now Motherwell 3, Dundee United 2. Motherwell went 3-1 up through Philip O'Donnell and then Ian Angus. But John O'Neill on as substitute for Dundee United have now made it 3-2. We're going to have a substitution. It's the one we forecast. Ian Wone is coming off for Nottingham Forest. And Steve Hodge, a loser with Tottenham, under you, David, in 87, comes on.
Yes, a very fine player, an underrated player, a terrific worker. But he has that little bit of energy and a little bit of power to get forward. And who knows? He could become very influential in this final. Certainly, Forest had to do something because Tottenham were gaining the ascendancy.
Venables up off the bench, screaming at his players, telling them what to do to counteract that substitution. Hodges close to the near touchline, the left, occupying Wone's position. His team move forward. It's with Glover, midway inside the Spurs half, faced by Vandenhuyse. Glover moving, edging towards the edge of the penalty area. Gets it to Hodge. Hodge tries to return the pass. And it's finally out of play off a Forest boot. And it will be a throw-in to Tottenham Hotspur. We've played 18 minutes of the second half. Forest a goal up at half-time through Stuart Pearce. Now pegged back at 1-1 through the equaliser from Paul Stewart. Here's Naeem on the far side. Hits it long. Lineker chases. Walker goes with him. Lineker's there. Lineker turns one way, then the other. Walker persists. And finally, Forest win back possession. A little luckily off Paul Allen's foot. It's their ball.
I must say, Walker and Lineker, those England colleagues who did so well in the World Cup, what a duel they're having, matching pace for pace.
It's a tremendous game. It really is a very good cup final. Sedgley for Tottenham, up from the back, midway inside the opposition half. Good ball, infield to Stewart, forward to Sedgley again. He's on the edge of the D. He has 5 red shirts around him, 5 red shirts converging, and Hodge brings it clear for Nottingham Forest. Glover towards Clough, spotted Crosby free on the right. Hodge tried to find him as well, just didn't run their way, Forest. Spurs have it back. They're moving forward now. Allen, Vandenhuis made a great break from the back. Allen plays it slightly squarish to his right to Samways, just outside the penalty area now. Fed low into the box, Allen couldn't take it. Hodge was there, and so too was Parker, and Parker moves forward for Nottingham Forest. Lee Glover working tremendously hard for his team. Was bundled over, was he, by Vandenhuis? Yes, the referee, no, he was 30 yards away, could spot that without the aid of glasses or floodlights or anything else, and it will be a free kick to Nottingham Forest. 19 minutes gone in the second half. Nottingham Forest 1, Tottenham Hotspur 1. Quite dramatic 110th FA Cup final. Pearce takes the free kick short for Parker. It's played forward to Hodge. The layoff to Glover. Hodge again, just outside the area. Glover now has it inside the box, turning one way then the other, trying to get the cross in. Plays it back to Hodge. It's swept towards the far post, but beyond Crosby. And Naeem on the far side picks up possession. He should clear it for Tottenham. He plays it safely back to Eric Korsted.
The only thing that can stop Tottenham at the moment, they put in a magnificent effort to get back in this game. I do feel it's been hard work for Stewart. He's made some tremendous runs from midfield. Lineker's worked so hard up front. Allen's given his normal 150%. And I just feel they may, if anything, fade physically.
Naeem threads it through. Samways inside the penalty area. Crosses low. Crossley dives at the feet of Lineker. Crossley wins. Terrific stuff, isn't it? Terrific. Really good final, as good as the one we all hoped for, we all perhaps optimistically anticipated. Crosby for Nottingham Forest on the far side is beaten by Edinburgh. Naeem plays it forward. The layoff by Samways to Edinburgh. Crosby, for a change, follows the fullback as opposed to the other way round. And this time it'll be a free kick to Tottenham Hotspur. Just inches in from the far touchline there. Left, it's taken quickly. Samways to Sedgley. Sedgley plays it through the centre circle to the near side, and Vandenhuis, the right fullback, chips it forward, chested off by Lineker. Allen's offside. It will be a free kick to Nottingham Forest, edge of their penalty area.
You reflected earlier on, Alan, that the Tottenham players were having a word with the referee, and I think you spoke about some after-match banquet. It could well be that they'd seen the replay of Lineker's disallowed first-half goal, and they were saying to the referee, you might owe us one.
Well, there was certainly no questioning Tottenham's equaliser through Paul Stewart. Excellent goal. Forrest chase another one though. Keane moves forward, beats one player, not a second. It's cleared into the Nottingham Forest half, where it's picked up by Stuart Pearce, the captain. Wants players to come towards him. Finds Steve Chettle. Chettle turns away from Samways, lays a ball into space for Parker. Crosby again tries to break away on the far side, making space for himself. It's threaded through by Charles to Keane. Keane just outside the penalty area, beats one player, almost a second. Ball breaks to Crosby, hits it in first time low. It's blocked by Tottenham and brought clear by Naeem, who's brought down by Gary Crosby, and it will be a free kick to Tottenham Hotspur.
I think Forest have got to keep plugging that ball out to Crosby. He's very important to them. I think they've got to make maximum use of that width. He's one of the few wide players that literally stays on the line when they're attacking. And I think he needs the ball as much as possible to give Forest a little bit of a breather.
It's 1-1. We're at the midway point of the second half, and I'm sure Mike Higham can conjure a winner.
Well, it was asking a lot for this one to live up to expectations. So strong was the build-up, so intense was the hype, but it has done just that. And Gary Mabbott of Spurs, the captain, left-footed up towards the edge of the area. Walker gets above Lineker. Naeem tries to spin his way around Gary Charles, and Charles thumps that one up towards the halfway line. Spurs back in possession. Long ball from Sedgley. Walker decides to head that away. Gary Parker has to be careful. And then from 25 yards, gives it back again to goalkeeper Mark Crossley. I just wonder how aware Paul Gascoigne might be at the moment of what's going on. He's gone to hospital for an X-ray, knee ligament trouble. Having left this game after 17.5 minutes, that seemed an awful long time ago now. And the scoreline, it is absolutely right. Forest took the lead, but Spurs have come back mightily well here, and they deserve to be level. The ball is inside the Spurs half. Vandenhuis header. Lineker against Walker as well, as David Pleat was saying, one of the real features of this contest. This time handball by Lineker. Forest take the free kick quickly. Keane and Glover, it's a little bit messy, and scrambling again superbly for his team is surely their best player in the Spurs side this afternoon, Paul Stewart. But now Paul Allen, who made the goal for Paul Stewart. A great run this from Paul Allen, up towards the edge of the area. Nobody to give it to. Now Naeem arrives. Gives it back again to Paul Allen on the left. Don't think he really wanted it. Gives it back to Edinburgh now. 35 yards out. Stewart again in midfield. Stewart goes round a challenge from Hodge and then tries to flick it wide to the far side. And there's some really excellent defending by Gary Charles over on that far side against Edinburgh. And it's back in that Forest penalty area, but not for very long, because now striding forward is Gary Parker. Long ball by Parker to the far side, and Crosby's offside, and that's a free kick to Spurs.
At the moment, Tottenham are really playing with a midfield of 4 players: Allen, Samways, Stewart and Naeem on the left. Although they've left Lineker somewhat isolated, they're trying to support him as quickly as possible, and Howells has dropped in, a very clever tactical ploy by Venables. Howells has dropped very deep in between Sedgley and Mabbott, and the 2 full-backs, Edinburgh and Van den Hauwe, are supporting when they can.
Well, it was 1-1 the last time these two sides met, just a week or two ago in the league. Nothing like as competitive as this, though, as Spurs are caught offside. And a free kick to Nottingham Forest. Vinnie Samways just got a bit of a blow on the head there. Forest have taken the free kick quickly, and they sweep it wide again to Gary Crosby. Down the far side, he parts with it quickly. Parker inside the Spurs half. Look to try and play it long to Keane, then plays a shorter ball for Lee Glover. Glover 30 yards out, lays it through the Hodge. Hodge is offside and doesn't hit the back of the net either, as he swivels round and just places the ball wide of Torstved's right-hand post. But that was offside against Hodge, and that's a free kick to Spurs. We have played 25 minutes of the second half. We have 20 minutes left of normal time. We could be heading for extra time yet again. 7 times in the last 10 years we've had extra time at Wembley. It's 1-1 between Forest and Spurs in the cup final, and Eric Torsved, the goalkeeper for Spurs, delivers downfield. It's Naeem against Gary Charles. The ball breaks for Samways, who's shuffling down the left-hand side of the field. Charles is sticking tight to him. Crosby also comes in with a half-hearted challenge, and there's a good run from Samways. Works the ball in towards the near post, cleared by Walker. Back again to Naeem. Naeem's left-footed ball, Pearce hammers that away. Looking for Glover, who's surrounded by white shirts. Spurs really hungry here. It's now Howells breaking from the deep, and then tries to spread it wide to the far side of the field. Just too far, though, in front of Vinnie Samways. But how Spurs have responded here to the loss of Paul Gascoigne. A first half in which they had what looked like a good goal overruled for offside. They also missed a penalty. They've come back in the second half with an equaliser from their outstanding player Paul Stewart, as the sun just tries to break through here again at Wembley. And the noise is intense, and so is the contest. Howells tries a little toe poker from all of 30 yards. That doesn't test Crossley. And it's a goal kick to Nottingham Forest. David Pleat.
I believe there was a thought before the game that with the possible export of Gascoigne or Lineker, the possible departure of Terry Venables or other people at the club, that this might be their last game together as a group. And when you've worked very hard in a football season and you come together in a showpiece game like Wembley, you really work and you chase and you fight for each other. And certainly Tottenham have done that in splendid fashion today.
And Spurs have the possession again. Naeem back again to Justin Edinburgh down the left-hand side of the field. There's always somebody there to help him out. And a long ball from Sedgley with his left foot to change the direction of play. Finds Van den Hauwe down the near side. And it's back again with David Howells. Patient build-up from Spurs. Long ball from Howells. And a fine ball from Howells. Taken on the chest by Naeem. And then he just loses concentration at the last second and just plants the ball out of play and presents Forest with a throw-in. And Gary Charles throws it to Steve Chettle, who comes forward and gives it to Crosby. Nigel Clough is out of the action at the moment, tying up his bootlace. Now he's back on his feet again, as Forest trying to put passes together in midfield. Once again run into that obstacle in midfield, Paul Stewart. But one back by Chettle, one back by Stewart. He really is having a fantastic game out there, Paul Stewart, in his comparatively new role. And then as the tackles go flying in again, inside the Spurs half, they have been penalised, and Forest have a free kick just inside the Tottenham half. A rolling ball, and now Parker. following the free kick. Little chip from Parker, looking for Hodge. Good jump from Sedgley, and then Sedgley completes the clearance up towards the centre circle. Blasted back by Walker. Hodge jumps again with Sedgley. Forrest on the edge of the Spurs penalty area with the Irishman Keane. Keane now for Clough. 20 yards out. Clough into the area, and Torsved's there, 6 yards out, diving at the feet of Steve Hodge. And away comes Spurs now with Paul Allen. Van den Hauwe is just inside the Forest half. He didn't really get the ball back again to Paul Allen, and he screams, Paul Allen does there at Van den Hauwe, for selling him a little bit short. And the ball is out of play for a Forest throw-in near side. We've played nearly half an hour of the second half. The cup final live on Radio 5 for the first time. And what a cup final it is as well. Nottingham Forest 1, Spurs 1. Forest leading 1-0 at half-time. Spurs back in it in the second half through Paul Stewart. And Nottingham Forest now starting to come back into it themselves now in the second half. They've had a good last 3 or 4 minutes. And it's with Chettle just inside the Spurs half. Spurs back off Chettle. He makes a few yards and then gives it to Parker. Parker 30 yards out, finds Glover. Glover, left-footed strike. It's blocked by Van den Hauwe. Comes back to Glover, does it? Just about. Lovely turn from Glover. Inside the area. Van den Hauwe to beat. The cross with the left foot is headed away by Edinburgh. Paul Allen heads it back inside the area. A bit dangerous that. But he was confident in the ability of the players around him. And it goes back to Torsford.
Some very cool defensive play by Forest after Glover had done good work out on the left. My original fear that Tottenham might fade physically is still there. Stewart particularly, who's played so well, is tiring a little bit. Samways, who's basically a young lad, he's covered every blade of grass today. I think he's played magnificently, and that could be the downside of all Tottenham's hard work in the last 25 minutes to get back in this game.
They only have one other player they can bring on, that's Paul Walsh, who at the moment is not sitting, he's standing and hoping. And as Spurs try to go forward through Paul Stewart, Roger Milford is going to pull them up just inside the Forest half. And that's a free kick to be taken by the centre-half, Steve Chettle. Inside the centre circle. Forest again favour the short free kick. Keeping the possession. Gary Charles now, very deliberately, looking for Roy Keane over on the far side. Sedgley slips, and Keane's on the ball. Keane on the right-hand side, the big ball to the back post, and that's not in play, that's gone behind. That's just about the first mistake, I think, that Sedgley's made all afternoon. He's protesting now over on the far side to the linesman about something. Perhaps frustrated with himself as well for making the slip, and now Roger Milford wants to just calm things down as well. And he's going to speak to Roy Keane, the young Irishman there, who incidentally is being watched by the manager of the Republic of Ireland, Jack Charlton, who's here today with the boys of 66. Words from Roger Milford to Roy Keane and now to Justin Edinburgh, and then a goal kick to Spurs.
There's a brief confrontation there between Justin Edinburgh and Roy Keane. Justin Edinburgh's had a tough game. He's stuck to his task well. I always feel that when Crosby's in possession, or indeed any Forest player wide on the right, that Justin Edinburgh is just that little bit nervous and anxious now and is reacting in a physical way.
Not that you need a motivating factor in a cup final, but I reckon Paul Stewart, who's been Spurs' outstanding player so far in this game, must have been pumped up a little bit extra after Gascoigne went off with the injury. He's Gascoigne's closest friend at Spurs. They live together. He will have known what this occasion meant to Gascoigne. He's playing his heart out there now. He's got the equaliser, and he's taking on Pearce and Hodge in the Forest midfield, and now Hodge wins it. A little bit too far, though, in front of Gary Parker. Edinburgh makes a challenge and then really gives it away, and Forest are countering like they do so well. Gary Crosby down the right, he's got lots of options. He goes round Sedgley, just carries it a bit too far, looks for the corner and gets it. Off Howells. Down the far side, the Forest right. Forest attacking the end where all their supporters are housed, around the tunnel. 1-1 here at Wembley. And they have a corner, Forest, to be taken by Gary Crosby. Down the right-hand side, looking for Keane, a back header from Keane. Nigel Clough is trying to go in, but I think Keane's been a little bit too much pushing and shoving there, and that's a free kick to Spurs inside their penalty area.
Well, Tottenham are withstanding this little period of improved passing by Forest. I believe that Hodge's emergence onto the field has helped steady the ship. He's playing far more infield than Ian Woan was playing. Ian Woan was in a very wide-ish position, whereas Steve Hodge has come more into midfield to give Parker and Keane some support, where the energy of Paul Allen and Stewart and indeed Samways was getting the upper hand. But I think I'm still on course, Mike. I thought it could well be a draw. I just got the score wrong.
No play just at the moment. the boot was high from Sedgley, a little bit dangerous, and as a result of that, Lee Glover got a kick in the face, just above the right eye, I think, and Liam O'Kane is going on to attend to him. And possibly there might be a little bleeding, because I notice he's putting a bandage or something up against his forehead. And the Nottingham Forest player, Roy Keane, also taking advantage of having a little bit of water applied to the back of his neck. And I wonder whether they might just ask Brian Laws to limber up. Liam O'Kane crouching over Lee Glover, the man, of course, who's held off the challenge from Nigel Jensen in the Forest forward line. Roy Keane has a good long swig there as well. And it's going to be a free kick to Nottingham Forest in just a few seconds. Where's Paul Walsh at the moment? He's crouching and he's also going through a few exercises down there. If this does go into extra time, then almost inevitably we will see the remaining substitutes, Brian Laws of Nottingham Forest and Paul Walsh of Spurs. A reminder that in the Scottish Cup final, it is Motherwell 3, Dundee United 2 in that high-scoring contest. And here at Wembley, Nottingham Forest 1, Tottenham 1 is the latest score, with 11 minutes to go in a game that has been pulsating right from the start. The Princess of Wales in the first half sat alongside Maurice Roweth, the Nottingham Forest chairman, in the first half. She is now sitting alongside Irving Scholar of Spurs in this second half. Wonder whether she's finding out a few little tidbits about the future of that club. Anyway, free kick to Forest now. Gary Parker's ready. Lee Glover's okay. It's in the centre of the field. It's a long way out. Parker looking for Pearce to make the run. It's headed away by Paul Stewart. Up towards the edge of the area. Now can Spurs gallop clear. Paul Allen racing down this near side, waiting for Samways to enter the Forest half. He feeds Samways. Forest now backtracking as Spurs break. Samways holds. He now waits for Paul Allen to make a run. And it's a good dummy run because he goes infield and then he hits the left-footed shot just wide of Crossley's left-hand post. Good idea that by Spurs. But Samways in the end just couldn't get the finish that he required. And that's a goal kick to Nottingham Forest.
Vinny Samways used Paul Allen as a lovely decoy then, as he rolled the ball back with the sole of his foot, took it on again across the face of the box and drove that ball wide of the post. He's really come of age today as Vinny Samways. I rated him very highly whilst I was at Spurs, and I have to say that if Gascoigne does sadly depart to Italy, I'm sure that Vinny Samways can take on quite an important mantle in the Tottenham midfield.
Steve Hodge for Nottingham Forest, once of Spurs. Well, that's blocked by Sedgley. That's beautifully read by Sedgley at the back, and Spurs following that good defensive work by Sedgley now go inside the Forest half again, but Pearce is in strongly against Paul Stewart. I can tell you that Paul Walsh will be coming on very, very soon for Spurs. He's waiting, he's taken his tracksuit off. He will come on as soon as the ball goes out of play, or indeed when the game stops, as indeed it does now, for offside against Nigel Clough. And Paul Walsh comes on to support Gary Lineker, and Vinny Samways, who's absolutely, as David Pleat was saying, ran his heart out here, looking very tired though now as he makes his way off to be replaced by the fresher legs of Paul Walsh.
As he had the shot just previously, I think he felt a twinge in the back of his left calf. He's had a very fine game. Whether he's got a touch of cramp coming on or whether he's just got a little bit of a kick in the back of the calf, certainly his contribution has been excellent. He's hardly given the ball away.
Well, Paul Walsh will chase and scuttle forward with Lineker. He's waiting already to get on the end of something from Lineker there as he comes on for Vinny Samways with 9 minutes left in the cup final. The possibility of 30 extra minutes if it stays like this. 1-1 between Forest and Spurs. 3-2 to Motherwell against Dundee United in Scotland, and Spurs have the possession over on the far side. It's with David Howells on the halfway line, chips it long, Lineker against Walker. Handball by Lineker, just used the hand there to get that under control. Goes to his knees in frustration, but Roger Milford saw that one. Awards Forest the free kick, and again they take it quickly. Parker, centre circle. Parker allows Chettle to take over now on the halfway line, runs it to the near side for Stuart Pearce, the man who gave Forest the lead here. 1-1 though, because Paul Stewart has equalised in the second half, and Paul Stewart again makes an interception against Steve Chettle. The police start to make their march around the running track here, anticipating the end of the game, but of course this game will continue unless somebody scores in these last 8 or 9 minutes. Nigel Clough threads it to the far side of the field. Gary Crosby comes back 4 or 5 yards, then gets hold of it. Crosby rather fortuitously finds Parker 25 yards out. Clough, great skills from Clough, goes round Paul Stewart and is fouled by Paul Stewart on the edge of the area. On the edge of the D there, the semicircle. This is a free kick to Nottingham Forest. And this must be Stuart Pearce time again. Stuart Pearce scored for Nottingham Forest from this sort of range after 15 minutes. Surely he can't do it again. Not even a man of his calibre. Pearce and Parker, the two players closest to the ball. There is a wall of anything up to 8 or 9 players, with Lee Glover again getting amongst the players there. And also Steve Hodge going into the wall. Free kick to Forest, and Parker takes it, and it's deflected for a corner. It had to be somebody else apart from Pearce after that build-up. But it didn't come off, not quite anyway. And now we hear of an equaliser in Scotland, 3-3 between Motherwell and Dundee United, so they're heading for extra time. Corner to Forest, it's 1-1 here. Mabbott gets it away, not very far. Parker drives it back in, and that goes halfway between Torstved's goal and the corner flag. That's going to be a goal kick to Spurs. We've got 6 minutes left here, and the equaliser for Dundee United came in the final minute of that game at Hampden from Darren Jackson.
Forest have definitely regained their poise here. They are now passing the ball a little bit better in the style of which they're accustomed, but I do feel that the introduction of Walsh, while the game is tight, he's a big match player. He'll go up there and support Lineker, and he can twist and turn and weave, and I think he could cause problem for Steve Chettle, particularly if he receives a nice angled passes along the deck.
Paul Walsh, former England international, inside the centre circle, preparing himself as Torsved clears into the Forest half. Lineker against Walker, glances off Lineker, tied up by Pearce. 35 yards out, straight back to Mark Crossley, and now for Gary Charles, edge of the penalty area. Calming things down again from the back. Forest still through Charles, waiting, and then it's for Gary Parker in the deep for Nottingham Forest. Forest now coming towards this near side with Des Walker. Pearce is available. Walker checks again, and then just knocks it to the near side for Hodge, who waited for that. Van den Houw came in. Oh, he was a bit unlucky, really, because he made the interception and then just carried it over the line, and that's gone out for a Nottingham Forest throw-in just in front of the bench down there, with Terry Venables to the right and Brian Clough to the left. Venables on the front row, and Clough sitting behind Liam O'Kane and Archie Gemmell on the second row of the Forest bench. Clough watching his son Nigel. Spreading the ball to the far side to Charles, who just overruns that. Just a loss of concentration there, and a bit of tiredness perhaps from Gary Charles, and that's out of play back inside the Spurs half, and we are now into the last 5 minutes of normal time. It's incredible, really, how many of these FA Cup finals in modern times now seem to require an extra 30 minutes and sometimes even a replay like last year. This one at the moment is heading for extra time. 1-1 between Nottingham Forest and Spurs on this grey day at Wembley. Long kick downfield from Torstved. Walker's there again. It's a 50-50 ball between Stewart and Hodge. Stewart got there first and Hodge was late. Stewart is fouled by Hodge. That's not usually the Nottingham Forest way, but Hodge didn't want Stewart to go forward then, and Roger Milford doesn't speak to Hodge, but Stewart has to receive attention from Dave Butler down there, and then it'll be a free kick to Spurs, and the water bottles are passed round just so that they can take time out here for a little refreshment. And Doug Livermore, Terry Venables' right-hand man, has gone onto the field of play to talk tactics. Is that allowed?
And we've also got Keith Waldron, the youth coach, handing water out and giving Dave Butler a hand. Certainly, we are only supposed to have in English games the trainer on the field at any one time on his own. But, of course, rulings are made to be broken, it seems. John Sheridan, the assistant physio, is also having a chat on the field there with the linesman. I expect to see Terry Venables appear any minute.
Well, Venables did go onto the pitch when Gascoigne was injured. That was understandable. Obviously, Doug Livermore was carrying on instruction from Terry Venables, who meets him now as they both sit down on the bench. Paul Stewart's okay, and they need him. Free kick to Spurs with 3 minutes to go of normal time. Sedgley makes a signal over on the far side. The free kick is near side the Spurs right. 35 yards or so out, to be taken by Pat Van den Houw. Van den Houw's free kick is curled in, and it's fisted away by Crossley, who just got in front of Howells. Forest trying to tidy up on that far side, and Glover can't take it, and Spurs are back in possession. Spurs pressing down the far side. Now Howells back to Stewart. Still Stewart is going. Stewart for Lineker. Lineker back to Stewart. Important interception again from Des Walker. That's a corner. Paul Walsh sensibly letting that one cross the line for a Spurs corner kick down the far side, the left-hand side of the field. They are now going to play extra time in Scotland. Final score after 90 minutes, Motherwell 3, Dundee United 3. That late equaliser by Dundee United. It's 1-1 at Wembley, and a corner for Spurs. Taken by Naeem, it's high. Walker got the deflection. Nigel Clough now has the possession. Clough for Keane. Keane into the Spurs half, and Torstved's racing out of his goal to get there first against Lee Glover, and then smacks it high into the terraces over on the far side. That's a throw into Nottingham Forest, and we have a minute and a half left of normal time. We're heading for extra time. Again, throw into Forest. Crosby looking for Glover at the near post. Walsh doesn't get hold of it for Tottenham, and he's helped out by Edinburgh. Edinburgh finds the touchline over on the far side, and that is going to be a throw into Spurs, deep in defence, to be taken by young Justin Edinburgh. And we have a minute left of normal time. We haven't had too many stoppages in the second half. Spurs, who've been without Gascoigne since the 17th minute of this game, have come back well in the second half. They've shown great character. Forest, though, in the centre circle, looking to try and play the ball through for Nigel Clough. Not at the best of passes, though, that time. Nigel Clough looks a little bit disgusted. The ball's with Torsford.
Well, Forest had a marvellous opportunity there when Keane reversed that ball out to the right, but Glover, not the quickest of players, very good up to feet, very good at holding the ball, but not the quickest, and Forsfeld beat him in a race for the ball and cleared it. But it was a good opportunity wasted.
Now a long ball from David Howells. Lineker goes in between Walker and Charles and limps out of the challenge from Charles. Crossley tidies up, and that's a very good throw by the goalkeeper to Crosby. Crosby's gone through Naeem's challenge, tries to play the ball to Keane down the far side. Spurs tackling well. Nobody now wants to make a mistake with only 15 seconds left of normal time. A goal now and the cup final would be all over. Allen against Chettle near side. Chettle not taking any chances. Knocks the ball out of play. We have played 90 minutes. We are playing injury time here. We are facing extra time as Spurs throw the ball into the area. Paul Walsh looked to use his hand to control it. Referee allowed him to work the ball in towards the near post. Forest clear it. Spurs finishing the 90 minutes on the attack here. They have a throw in near side. Vanden Hauwe for Walsh. Walsh close to the dead ball line. His cross is volleyed away by Des Walker. Very little time to play now. In normal time, again Doug Livermore is coming out off the bench to scream instructions to Spurs. They've barely time to take this corner kick. Surprisingly, Naeem is not really hustling forward to take this. A corner kick to Spurs. Could be the last action of the 90 minutes this. It's 1-1, and Naeem takes one of the most important corners he'll ever take in his life. Naeem's corner, the header comes in, and the save from Crossley. The header was from Howells, and Crossley makes the spectacular save and keeps Nottingham Forest in the cup.
Well, Tottenham really a titanic effort to get back in this game under the handicap of losing Gascoigne. Fine save by Crossley there. Both sides having chances, but almost inseparable.
Almost a repeat of the league game at the City Ground when David Howells earlier in the season scored a late winner for Spurs at Nottingham Forest, but Crossley makes the save, and as a result of that save, the whistle goes after 90 minutes. The score after 90 minutes is Nottingham Forest 1, Spurs 1, and so once again in the cup final we go into extra time.
And we will bring you the whole of Extra Time live. That means that there will be no world news at 16 hours Greenwich Mean Time, but we will have a world news summary in half-time of Extra Time, okay? World news summary coming up at half-time of on Extra Time. Alan Green is commentating at the moment. Let's join him and see what he's saying.
Playing from right to left in this first 15 minutes, having been a goal down scored by Stuart Pearce after a quarter of an hour of the game, equalised through Paul Stewart 11 minutes into the second half in this very dramatic FA Cup final. Spurs in possession through their captain Mabbutt, played to the left to Sedgley, still short of the centre circle, hits it long. Walsh is there, but so too is Pearce, and Pearce wins it easily in the air, heads it down to Chettle. Chettle are moving towards the halfway line, gives it to Glover. Glover with the layoff to Pearce. Hodge has made the run down the left flank. Pearce tries to pick him out. It was a good pass. Hodge keeps it in play. The linesman's flag's dead down, and the referee's decided that that's a free kick. I think rightly so, for a foul tackle by Steve Sedgley. Free kick to Forest on the far side, their left. Taken quickly by Pearce to Hodge, just to the edge of the penalty area. Hodge tried to lay it off to Glover. Glover hadn't made the move, and Hodge stubbed his toe anyway in making the pass, and it's back with Torsfeld.
Yes, I feel at times Glover looked slightly laboured, a little bit tired, which is expected, and he just didn't read Hodges' intentions there. I think in some way Brian Clough might regret not having Jensen on the substitutes bench. He has a defender, Laws. If he makes a change now, he would have to move more, probably Laws into midfield and Keane up front with Nigel Clough. I just think it's getting very hard at this moment for Glover.
Free kick to Spurs between 35 and 40 yards out from the Forest goals. A foul by Walker and Lineker. Naeem will take it. Chips it into the penalty area. Header goes towards goal, but behind. The header was by David Howells, had come up to the edge of the area. But good work there by Paul Walsh, I think it was, forcing a corner, forcing the defender, Gary Parker, to concede the corner. And this will be taken from the far side. That's the Spurs right by Naeem. Hitting it right-footed. 2 minutes gone on extra time. Played deep into the penalty area. Pearce rises, heads it clear. Picked up, though, by Paul Allen. Allen back to Vandenhauwe. Chip long. Walsh rises in the area. Gets his head to the ball. It hits the crossbar and is knocked behind by Pearce. Who would have believed that Walsh would win the ball in the air? His looping header almost caught Crossley out. He was always struggling. Indeed, he's injured as well in trying to make the save. It was a tremendous looping header, and Crossley diving back, trying to keep the ball out, I think hit the upright.
Certainly hard luck for Spurs, that. I think Walsh's intention was to get it back across the face of the goalkeeper for a forward coming in from the other side. In doing so, he's got above Charles. Charles sometimes may not like it in the air on the cross balls and the diagonal balls. His best work is done when it's on the ground, intercepting, tackling, pushing forward. But Walsh certainly beat him for that ball, and Crossley certainly got quite a knock in the process of preventing that ball scrambled in after it hit the bar.
He's a tenacious little player, is Paul Walsh. He really is, and I know he feels such frustration being a regular substitute for Tottenham. When he does make an entry into the game, why, he usually has an effect on it. Crossley's okay, the corner's taken, and Walsh almost falls, it's into the net! It's into the net, and it's Gary Mabbott, is it? Gary Mabbott, the captain, whose own goal 4 years ago cost the cup final for Tottenham against Coventry City. Is it Mabbott who's got the goal that's won it for them in 1991? Indeed, it was Walker. Walker went with Mabbott to meet the header, and it's glanced off the England international. Mabbott won't mind if another own goal settles a final, this time in Spurs' favour.
Well, it was Stewart that got the initial flick on from the corner. Whether Crossley was stunned or not, it was a fight for the ball at the back post, and if Walker did knock the ball into the net, it was certainly Mabbott that forced the error, and who can say that it's not a great reward for him after all the problems he's had to encounter with his diabetes. He's a terrific lad, a wonderful captain, a leader, and he was so sad to score the own goal in the 87 Cup final.
5 minutes gone in extra time. Spurs, who were 1 goal down, are 2-1 in front.
I'll still stick with my score, Alan, if you remember, 2-2. I think you'll now see Pearce and Charles really foraging forward. They haven't done so all game. They've sat back, they've kept their shape at the back. Now watch Forest go forward. They'll go for Tottenham's throat, and I think we're going to see a tremendous end to this game.
Forest have a free kick. Gascoigne semi-final distance it is. 35 yards out. And Pearce, who scored Forest's goal after a quarter of an hour from a free kick rather closer in, will take this one for his side. 5 Tottenham players in the wall. And here comes Pearce. Left-footed, driven into the low. My goodness, that must have hurt Paul Allen. But it breaks away to the near side. And Naeem crossing the halfway line now. Lineker is available up front. Here's Allen again. Walsh to his left. Allen sprints forward. Just midway inside the Forest half now. Hits it wide to Walsh. Walsh cuts inside the challenge of Charles. Edge of the area. Crosses deep. Pearce denies Lineker with a header down. And Forest bring it clear through Gary Parker. 6 minutes gone in extra time. It's Nottingham Forest 1, Tottenham Hotspur 2. The year, after all, does end in a 1. Keane, wide to Parker, far side, Forest left. And Parker edges forward, sees a white shirt coming to challenge, goes sideways, lays it backwards towards Nigel Clough, who's very, very deep. Clough to Chettle now. Forward to Parker, a little bit more room. Pierce is available on the far side, the left flank. Cuts in towards the penalty area now. Takes on Vandenhout, crosses low, and it's denied by Sedgley on the near post, put behind for a corner.
You can almost feel a thud up here, Alan, on that one. Pierce taking on Van der Hau. Two real toughies on the left-hand side there. And Pierce forces the corner.
From the far side, Forrest right. Taken by Parker to the near post. Headed up into the air by Naeem. Pierce challenges for the ball over aggressively. And it will be a free kick to Tottenham. It's going to go that way, isn't it? They're going to throw everything at them.
Well, the pace of the game is unrelenting. And as I said earlier on, Forest probably have a little bit more to give than Spurs, and because of the circumstances now, they will push forward even more. I don't think Tottenham will worry too much about counter-attacking them. Howells will sit very deep, and Stewart, who's very, very, very tired now, will just stay in that area surrounding his back four.
How ironic if an own goal by Des Walker should settle this final. Walker, who's never scored in his senior career for Nottingham Forest, finally strikes the net, the wrong net. The clearance by Crossley for Nottingham Forest. Glover rises, it's headed away by Mabbutt, who forced that own goal. Walsh on the halfway line, turns away from the challenge of Chettle, finds Naeem, he stabs it forward. Pierce heads it away. On the halfway line it is now. Parker gives it away. Stewart moves forward, midway inside the Forest half. Parker seemed to use his hand to control the ball on the far side of the field. The linesman nor the referee spotted it, and Forest clear. It's with Keane, just short of the halfway line. Hits it over into Tottenham territory, and there's a little argy-bargy involving Vandenhout. He committed a foul against Steve Hodge, and it will certainly be a free kick for Nottingham Forest. And the referee, Roger Milford, goes across to Vandenhout, or goes within 10 yards of him and shouts at him. Well, I thought that was a free kick.
Well, I think Glover had a go at Vandenhout because he felt that Hodge was unfairly treated. In actual fact, I think Hodge was caught sleeping there, and when Vandenhout robbed him, his reaction was one of annoyance.
And there was no free kick. 9 minutes gone in extra time. Spurs lead by 2-1. If they're going to do it, they're going to do it at least without Gascoigne, and perhaps when you consider that it was Gascoigne's foul and that led to the free kick that put Forrest in front after 15 minutes, in spite of Paul Gascoigne. The ball is back with Torsfed inside the Spurs penalty area to our right, and such a change of atmosphere now. It's the Spurs fans in full vocal range and the Forest fans to the left looking decidedly subdued. Torsfed, the Norwegian, clears long, very long clearance, comes off the head of Chettle to the near side where it's picked up by Naeem. Naeem into Lineker. Lineker threads it back towards Edinburgh. Just 10 yards inside Forest territory. Stewart gets it now, runs forward, runs into red shirts, and Forest should clear comfortably. Glover to Parker inside the centre circle. He's going to be robbed, though, by Paul Allen, who's as busy as ever. Allen gets the ball back to Edinburgh, and I suspect the Spurs keeper might see possession shortly.
Paul Allen has really ran himself into the ground. Magnificent. He's able to sustain his pace for long periods. It's a tremendous quality. He has as much energy now as he did as a fresh-faced lad that came into the West Ham side and played in that cup final when he was only 17 years of age.
5 minutes to go in the first period of extra time. Forest trailing by 2-1. Push forward. They've got to throw in the far side. Pierce takes it. It's laid off neatly. Parker forward to Keane. Keane just outside the D is well tackled, but the ball breaks once more to Parker, who stabs it with his right foot to the near side, and Gary Charles showed far too much of the ball to Naeem, and then in his anxiety to get there before the Spanish player, just stabbed the ball behind the goal line for a goal kick to Tottenham. It's been a tremendous final, David.
Yes, really, it has lived up to the hype. I think when you see two sides that play without playing that wretched offside game, there's always a chance that you might get a good game. Early on, I thought the game was tight in midfield, which you probably expect it to be. A lot of physical confrontations, a lot of free kicks, but the game's opened out splendidly.
Howells to Allen. Allen is foul tackled surely by Stuart Pearce. Ball's out of play. Whether it's a throw-in or a free kick, we wait to see. It's a free kick. A reminder that at Hampden Park, which is where the Scottish final has also gone into extra time, it's Motherwell 4, Dundee United 3. Free kick to Tottenham. 20 yards inside Forest territory. On the far side, the Tottenham right. Lineker up on the edge of the penalty area. It's played now. Deep by Vandenhuy. Very deep. Header by Mabbutt across goal. Lineker can't make it. Keane should flick it further away from danger for Nottingham Forest. Spurs win it back. Stewart forward to the far side. The cross is deep, but too deep. And this one should be easily cleared by Gary Charles toward this near side. Charles gets a present back of a header from Edinburgh, and he's got plenty of room to move forward. He's already sprinted 40 yards. He's now inside the Tottenham half. Good ball infield to Roy Keane. Keane forward to Charles again, who went charging forward, hoping to get the obstruction by Justin Edinburgh. The referee shakes his head and says, no, that was a fair challenge. Tottenham have the ball. Eric Torsved with it in his hands. His side leading by 2-1, having been 1 goal down for the whole of the first half and for 11 minutes of the second. Torsved clears, right-footed. Lineker goes after it, leans on Chettle, gets away with it, and finally the ball comes off Chettle out of play in this near side of the field for a throw into Tottenham. Naeem will take it. No one's rushing to give him a close option. Instead, it's thrown down the touchline to Paul Walsh. Walsh jinks one way, then the other. Charles persists, but Charles may well have conceded a corner. He has. The referee was close by. He had no doubts whatsoever. Charles a little disappointed, but the referee's decision was right. 2 minutes to go in this first period of extra time. Another corner to Spurs. Naeem takes it right-footed, curling in towards goal. Crossley punches it clear. And Clough should break. He's got beyond Vandenhuy. Clough moving towards the halfway line. Oh, he just underhit the intended pass to Keane, who was sprinting down the Forest right. And Spurs intercept and get it back to Torsved.
And that ball intercepted once again, Paul Allen. He's all over the place.
So here's another man who's all over the place, Stewart, chipping it back to Torsved. Torsved gives it to Sedgley just outside his penalty area, and Sedgley gives it back to the goalkeeper. Spurs very happy with the situation, and they should be absolutely delighted with the way the likes of Allen and Stewart and Samways, who's probably only been taken off because he's exhausted, the way those three players in particular have played this afternoon when they suffered that dreadful blow after 17 minutes when Gascoigne was stretchered off and taken away to hospital to see if what they suspect is true, namely that he's got bad knee ligament problems. Ball is out of play. It'll be a throw into Tottenham. We've got a minute left in the first period of extra time. And as far as Spurs are concerned, it's really slowed down. Naeem throws back into his own half. Stewart is there. And it's played back to Torsved. Torsved just to the edge of his centre circle. He thinks about throwing it to Vandenhuy, decides against it. Bunches the ball a couple of times. And the roar comes up from the Tottenham fans who, despite all the troubles that have surrounded their club throughout the season, sense victory here at Wembley in this FA Cup final. They lead by 2-1. Clough for Nottingham Forest. Back to Hodge. Turns inside the centre circle. Good ball forward to Keane. Keane gets around the challenge. Threads it to the near side, and Gary Crosby. Crosby moving in field. Midway inside the Spurs half. Runs into the bulk of Steve Sedgley. The ball rebounds to Charles, and he's far too anxious. Again, he showed far too much of it to Naeem, and Naeem brings it clear for Tottenham Hotspur. Good ball infield to Lineker. The layoff now to Walsh. Just moving beyond the halfway line, and Walsh sprints forward. He's got Allen to his right. Paul Walsh still has possession for Tottenham. Now he feeds it wide to Allen. On the far side, Spurs right. Vandenhuij's available. Ball played through to Walsh, edge of the penalty area. Skips around the challenger. Walker tries to cross it. It's blocked by the England defender and goes behind for a corner.
Paul Walsh has really wriggled effectively for Tottenham up front. I feel he's given Chettle and Walker far more problems than they had originally with Lineker, a lone marksman. He's come on, he is a big match player. I always remember when I bought him from Charlton for Luton, wasn't long before he wanted to go to the likes of Liverpool's and Tottenham's, and that's where he's ended up. He's still a very fine player, a very effective individual.
In time added on at the first period of extra time, Naeem with the corner. Right-footed, played in there. Mabbutt rises. He doesn't meet it before Walker, and this time Walker didn't head goalwards. He headed away from goal. Crosby chases after it. The referee looks at his watch. He blows his whistle. We reach the end of the first period of extra time, and Spurs lead 2-1.
And we'll be back for the second period of extra time. Now, a World News Summary with John Livesey. John.
The United Nations says agreement in principle has been reached with the Iraqi government on the deployment of United Nations security guards in northern Iraq. The presence of the guards is intended to give reassurance to returning refugees. The African National Congress has said that it's suspending talks with the South African government on power sharing until President de Klerk meets its demands for action to end clashes in black townships. Tens of thousands of demonstrators in South Korea have fought running battles with riot police as security forces again halted the funeral procession of a student beaten to death by police. The clashes are the worst since President No Tae-woo came to power. Military leaders in Yugoslavia have met to discuss the political crisis which has left the country without a president or head of the armed forces. And the Soviet spaceship taking the first British astronaut into space has been launched from the Baikonur Space Center. That's the end of the news summary. Now back to Paddy Feeney in the Sports World studio.
Thank you very much indeed, John. Just about to go into the second part of extra time at Wembley. It's 2-1 to Spurs over Nottingham Forest. It's still Motherwell 4, Dundee United 3 in extra time in Scotland. They're underway again at Wembley, and in the commentary chair at the moment it is Mike Ingham.
Attacking the tunnel end, all of their supporters. Spurs getting so close now. Howells works it to this near side. Stuart Pearce just gets goal side of Paul Allen. And back again it goes to Mark Crossley. Crossley clears. Long downfield. Gary Mabbott just gets an important header in. Paul Stewart. Stewart up for... Oh, this time Paul Allen can't take it. And Pearce is there again. But Pearce is not going forward here. Paul Allen is stopping him from going forward because of his good play down this near side. I think that's been a contributory factor this afternoon in this great Spurs turnaround. Another long kick downfield. Mabbott this time takes it on the volley. And Howells in the centre circle veers towards the far side and then plays it wide down that far side to Gary Lineker, who holds sensibly. And it's back again now inside the Spurs half with Naeem. Naeem plays it to the feet of Howells. Poor marking by Forrest. Howells looking for Walsh. Walker comes across. And that's out of play down this near side. And it's going to be a throw into Spurs, who in 1987 under David Pleat lost the final to an own goal by Gary Mabbott. Here they may well win a final after an own goal by Des Walker. Throw-in is taken. Walsh is juggling with it. Gets the ball in, and this time again Des Walker hits it to the near side. The only time Spurs have ever been beaten in an FA Cup final was in 87 to that own goal. Now they lead by an own goal, 2-1. And they deserve the luck. Having lost Gascoigne with an injury, having missed a penalty, having hit the post, having had a good goal ruled off for offside, they lead 2-1, having been 1-0 down after 15 minutes. And they've got a free kick. They're inside the Forest half, down this near side of the field. And Liam O'Kane down there, I think, wants to attract the referee's attention and get a substitute on, Brian Laws, but the referee hasn't seen Liam O'Kane. And Spurs take the free kick. Vanden Hauwe with it. Just glanced away from Paul Stewart in the air by Des Walker. Ball goes to the far side, and it's not going to be a Spurs throw-in. It's a Forest throw-in. Gary Charles has taken it already. Forest are anxious to get Brian Laws into the game. And the ball is back inside the Spurs half. Sedgley back to Torsberg. David Pleat for the first time in this second period.
It'll be interesting to see who's coming off here. I would have thought it's Glover. I've always felt that Glover's been a half a yard short. Maybe Charles. Once or twice he's gone forward and picked the wrong options with the ball. But he's not in trouble defensively, Charles. But certainly they may need Laws. And I think they probably will have to push maybe Keane further forward.
Well, he got it right first time. I think he suggested Lee Glover, and Lee Glover is going to come off. But first of all, yes, now the referee is going to allow that to happen. So Brian Laws comes on. Powerful player down the right-hand side. He's going to join Gary Charles down that far side, and Crosby's coming in field now to partner Nigel Clough, because Lee Glover has run his legs off, and he's going off now. And Forest have got a free kick short of the halfway line, taken by Gary Charles. Paul Allen comes back to beat Parker in the air. The players don't know where the ball is. Now they do. Steve Hodge. Hodge plays it through looking for Keane. Paul Stewart has to be careful and just gets a subtle touch on it and manages to run it back to goalkeeper Torsberg.
Stewart did well to see that deft little pass squirm its way through as Keane ran. Fine interception that got it back to Thorsfeld. He's done good work going forward. There was a rare glimpse of him doing good work defending.
The ball is near side. Pearce for Nottingham Forest. Parker trying to turn around Paul Stewart. That takes some doing, the way Paul Stewart is playing. Paul Stewart hammering forward against Pearce, and he's been penalised. The linesman didn't like that on Pearce. Forest allowed to take the free kick, and the referee keeps the game moving sensibly. and it's with Crosby. Oh, that's a good tackle by Walsh on Crosby. Spurs so fired up for this now. Lineker lays it off a little short for Walsh, and Walsh can't take it. Keane now to the far side for Nottingham Forest. They now have Brian Laws available down that far side. Laws having just come on for Glover, but a poor pass from Forest, and Spurs picking it up again now through Lineker, edge of the centre circle. Lineker takes it on, and then it's wide with Paul Stewart down below us on the right-hand side. Paul Stewart trying to return the ball to Lineker. Lineker goes in against Walker to get it. He's very wide on this near side by the corner flag, trying to win a corner, puts his foot on the ball. Walker denies the corner, and it's a throw to Spurs. Already we've played nearly 5 minutes of this second period of extra time in the cup final, and Spurs lead still by 2-1, having got the goal in the first period of extra time, an own goal from Des Walker, and it's a throw into Spurs 15 yards from the corner flag down this near side of the field to be taken by Van den Hauwe, who could be a Wembley winner at last. A long throw, Chettle heads it away. Naeem tries to play the ball back inside the penalty area. Paul Stewart just at the moment has got his stockings rolled down, and he's getting some tie-ups thrown to him from this near side, showing the fatigue now, not surprisingly. Referee, I'm sure, will make him pull those stockings up and not allow him to display the shin pad. Anyway, it's a throw into Forest down the far side. Just need to get hold of their game again, Forest, now with time running out. 10 minutes to go. And Spurs lead 2-1. Chettle for Forest, into the centre circle for Hodge. Hodge on the centre spot. Left-footed ball for Brian Laws. Rickling his way around 3-4 Spurs players. Not quite, because guess who was there again? Paul Stewart. Naeem for Lineker. Naeem gets a return ball from Lineker. Then a bad challenge comes in from Steve Hodge. And that's going to be a free kick to Spurs. And Roger Milford's patience, I think, is running out. And Steve Hodge, against his former club, I think is going to be shown the yellow card for that challenge on the halfway line. Roger Milford talks to Hodge inside the centre circle, produces the pen and the notebook, and the yellow card for Steve Hodge.
Well, it wasn't really an offensive challenge. I have to say that's a touch of cramp. He didn't really get caught by Hodge. He rode the challenge and fell, but I think he's got a severe attack of cramp there. I think Hodge is slightly unfortunate to get that booking.
Those are the songs from North London, from White Hart Lane. It's a subdued Nottingham Forest contingent just at the moment away to the left, but things can change very quickly, of course, in cup finals. Nottingham Forest, though, have only 8 minutes to make things change here now in this 1991 final. It all started so well for Brian Clough with that early goal from Stuart Pearce. Paul Gascoigne carried off and taken to hospital. Where is he now, I wonder? Where is he? Watching, listening, I'm sure, and hoping that his team without him can see through these last 8 minutes. And Naeem, looking extremely weary, is up on his feet with that touch of cramp, having been massaged by Dave Butler down there, the Spurs physiotherapist. And Spurs have taken the free kick, and they've knocked it back inside their own half to Gary Mabbott. And Gary Mabbott's got his goalkeeper prowling around there in the area, waiting for it, Eric Torsved. And Torsved now comes right to the edge of that area and hammers it down. It's a gloomy early evening here now at Wembley, but it's been a splendid cup final, and Spurs are on the verge of winning it. And this Nottingham Forest now can find a little bit of magic. Back again it goes with Eric Torsved. Still Brian Clough sits motionless down there, arms folded, waiting and watching, out of his control, of course. And again another clearance from the Spurs goalkeeper. Lineker against Walker. Lineker just put off slightly there by Walker. Nottingham Forest through Laws, looking strong and determined. This is a good break now by Brian Laws. He's halfway inside the Spurs half, taking on Justin Edinburgh. Edinburgh got the challenge in, and Laws came back at Edinburgh. And that's a free kick, and that's the one thing that Forest really can't have now. They can't be giving away free kicks to Spurs. That really is playing into the Tottenham hands. And that's a free kick to Spurs back inside their own half. And one or two of the players now almost at walking pace down there. What a good thing from their point of view, at least. It isn't a hot day. A long, long kick. Walker gets in there first in the air against Lineker. Walsh wins it, and Lineker was fractionally offside. That's a free kick to Forest, and from a rolling ball, Stuart Pearce takes it and gets it back. Now can he might be the man to inspire Nottingham Forest. On the halfway line, Pearce hits it long, crossfield, left-footed. Laws on the chest. Can Laws get a cross in? Deflected, I think, yes, for a corner kick to Forest. Far side of the field, the Forest right. Now those flags go up again behind Eric Torsved's goal. Suddenly the red and white displays itself, and Nigel Clough runs to the far side of the field, looking for accuracy here now. Only Des Walker staying back. The corner kick for Forest, looking for Pearce. Comes out to Charles, and that's wide. In the end, Torsved didn't move. It was wide of his left-hand post. It's a goal kick to Spurs.
This really is a magnetic period of football. Both sides, after such a long, hard slog, playing so well. There's players on the field that are really exhausted. Lineker's tired. He's run all day. Allen, Stewart's gone. He's finished. He's hobbling around. And still, Tottenham hang on.
Congratulations to Motherwell. They have won the Scottish Cup today, 4-3 against Dundee United. Motherwell have won. Spurs are leading. Motherwell will be in Europe next season. Spurs might be joining them. The ball is inside the Forest penalty area, though. They still have 5 minutes left in this game. The crowd urging them forward now from Nottingham. Again, the police come out for the second time and walk around the running track. That's always a marvellous sign for any manager and team if they're in the lead. It'll be depressing for Nottingham Forest, though. It means we have very little time left now as Forest try to go forward, and Crosby's clattered by Vanden Hauwe, and Forest again take the free kick quickly. Spurs must concentrate here. It's with Chettle. Chettle for Pearce. Pearce 35 yards out, looking to try and work a 1-2 on the edge of the area, but Paul Allen stretches, reaches, and gives it back again to Eric Torsved.
Once or twice, Forest have got into advanced positions. Players have made forward runs, and the release of the ball has just been delayed too long. Particular culprits at times, Gary Charles, and possibly, once or twice, Steve Chettle when he's moved forward. They must release the ball quickly.
Roger Milford from Bristol looks at his watch for the first time, and it tells him there are 4 minutes left in the cup final. He also looks at his watch because in fact, he's pointing at his watch now and saying to the Spurs players, any suggestion of time wasting, and I will stop my watch, and it won't get you anywhere. Spurs now, near side. Pearce cuts it out in the air. Walker's clearance up towards the halfway line. Eagerly in is Paul Allen. Paul Stewart this time doesn't find a colleague. It's a mistake by Stewart, a rare one. And Clough's found Crosby dancing down the left-hand side. Crosby's inside the area, and that was a fantastic interception by Gary Mabbott for Spurs, the captain. Leading by example, but then Spurs are caught in possession again. Pearce for Parker, 30 yards out. Again, Gary Mabbott is there for Spurs. Finds Walsh. Walsh trying to go round his marker in midfield, Steve Hodge, eventually runs into Steve Chettle. The ball's out of play for Spurs throw.
That smooth passing has deserted Forest. Crosby was in a very good position there. He tried one sleight of foot too many. Nigel Clough was waiting for the ball. Keenan made a run into the box. They just must deliver this ball a little bit earlier when they get into wide positions.
It looks like it could rain any moment here now at Wembley Stadium. It is dark, but there is daylight and plenty of it for Tottenham Hotspur. Leading 2-1, 3 minutes left. Free kick for Forest on the halfway line. High from Pearce. Chettle trying to get a back header inside the penalty area. Spurs stab it away for Lineker now. Lineker turns it to this near side. Paul Allen's legs still taken to the ball. Allen down the line for Walsh. Walker comes across to try and tackle Walsh, and in the end, Walsh presents the ball to Walker. And here's another chance now for Forest. They give it to Crosby, left-hand side. Crosby moving into the Spurs half. Walsh comes back and tackles him in. He really never got going there, Crosby. And Walsh came back to make the interception. And Tottenham are 2.5 minutes away from the FA Cup of 1991. Forest have a throw. Gary Crosby to take it. Plenty of Forest players in those red shirts inside the penalty area. The throw comes in. Mabbott gets up highest. Chettle tries to knock it back in again. And there's a chance for Hodge, a chance for Keane. No, the whistle's gone. Keane got the shot in. And as Torsved made the save, Naeem fell on top of him inside the 6-yard area. Lost his footing, I think. And that's the free kick to Spurs for that offence. 2 minutes to go.
Well, Tottenham literally defending for all they're worth now. Paul Allen getting the ball and breaking out. But when they're in this position, Forest, they just must pass the ball, keep passing the ball, and remember all the principles that has brought them such success and such realisation all over the country of what fine young footballers they are. But Tottenham have done tremendously well today. They have fought back so well.
All that Terry Venables will require now of Spurs is for them to hold it, keep the possession, and they will win the cup. Walsh for Paul Allen, near side the Spurs right. Vanden Hauwe still going strong. Now David Howells. Howells back to Vanden Hauwe, galloping forward down the near side. Colossal challenge coming in from Stuart Pearce. Those two great professionals hug each other down there. And there's a throw into Spurs. 10 yards from the corner flag. Vanden Hauwe the man to take it. Lineker inside the area, runs towards Vanden Hauwe to receive it. Takes it on the chest. Lineker showing his experience, moves towards the corner flag, looking for a corner. Squeezed away by Forest, but they can't get out of their own half now. They're being pegged back. And we have very little time left now at Wembley. Very little time for Brian Clough. It's a Spurs throw-in. And Forest are being pressed right back. And at last, Forest can get hold of that ball. Their goalkeeper, Mark Crossley, can take a goal kick. He launches himself for perhaps the last time. In the Spurs half, Crosby and Clough wait. Crosby jumps with Mabbott. Mabbott gets up the higher. Forest now. Charles. Oh, a poor one from Charles. David Howells was waiting for it, and he finds Walsh. Walsh to Lineker. Lineker instinctively to the near side to Paul Allen. Back again with Paul Allen. Into the centre of midfield now for Paul Stewart. Stewart holds and trades passes with Naeem. Back again with Paul Stewart. He moves now towards this near side. We are now playing added time in this extra time period at Wembley. Spurs have come from behind and lead 2-1 against Nottingham Forest. Roger Milford watching everything like a hawk down there. Looks across to the far side. Looks again at the watch. The Spurs fans happily know their team at least have the possession. And Walsh slips on the halfway line. Still finds Howells down the left. Howells now for Lineker. Every single Spurs pass being cheered. It's like a bull ring at the moment. Lineker will feel at home, and so will Terry Venables, those former Barcelona maestros. The ball comes to the near side. Paul Allen there, showing a little bit of arrogance. Plays it back to Stewart on the halfway line. Stewart loses concentration. Nigel Clough can hardly make contact with the ball. He's so tired. So Keane helps him out. Keane finds Laws. Laws belts into the Spurs half. Down the far side. Forest have got time perhaps for one more cross. One more ball into the penalty area. No, they can't get round Naeem. And then Naeem rather extravagantly gives it away. Still Forest try. And Nigel Clough is sticking both arms in the air. Please, someone, he says. Give it to me. But nobody will give it to Nigel Clough or Brian Clough today. The final whistle goes at Wembley Stadium. And Brian Clough will have to try again. He's experienced his first FA Cup final here today, but he's not taking the trophy back with him to the East Midlands tonight to put on top of his television set, because against all the odds, despite all of their internal problems and the problems encountered on the pitch here today as well, Tottenham Hotspur have won the FA Cup for a record 8th time, one more now than Aston Villa and last year's holders, Manchester United. And Spurs will join Manchester United in next season's European Cup Winners' Cup, when of course they could be then without Terry Venables, Paul Gascoigne and Gary Lineker if the manager's bid to take over the club fails. It still remains Venables' number one target. He said before this game, I want to be remembered as the man who helped to save Tottenham rather than the man who won the FA Cup. Well, he has won the FA Cup, and it's only surely going to help his cause. Players embracing each other down there inside the centre circle. The Nottingham Forest players looking a little forlorn. But after what has been an unprecedented build-up to an FA Cup final for a club, Spurs have shown the character, and probably the day is going to end in tears after all for Paul Gascoigne in the hospital. He ends the day as a cup winner in hospital, and I hope somebody remembers to take his medal to him as Doug Livermore embraces Paul Walsh now inside the centre circle. Spurs players go towards the end away to the right to thank their supporters. Eric Torsted, now here's a good moment. He always goes into the crowd after a victory and throws his gloves to the supporters. There he goes away to the right, and I tell you what, What a collector's piece this is going to be. Erik Torsved goes to the edge over there, leaps over the gate and hurls his gloves into the crowd. One glove only, because he's going to be fair. He's going to give somebody on this near side a glove and somebody over on the far side. And what a memento from the 1991 FA Cup final. In the meantime, let us not forget Nottingham Forest. Always difficult moments, of course, for the beaten side. Many young players, though, of course, still in that beaten side who can come back one day and win the cup. But I just wonder, is this destined to be the one trophy that's going to slip away from Brian Clough as Nottingham Forest players now come up towards the Royal Box, led by the captain Stuart Pearce, the man, of course, who put them on their way, they thought, with the opening goal here. Stuart Pearce comes up to receive his runners-up medal. My babes in Europe, Brian Clough described them as earlier today. Youngsters like Wone and Keane and Glover and Charles getting a tremendous round of applause from all of the Spurs players. Gary Lineker, I see down there, the England captain, clapping and cheering his England teammate Stuart Pearce as a little wearily he makes his way up towards the Royal Box. The FA Cup is waiting to be presented to Spurs. Stuart Pearce has a long, rueful look at that cup. It's not his day today. And Des Walker goes forward as well. Brian Clough, the manager, had a sympathetic word with Des Walker just before he made that long walk up to the box, because, of course, in the end, it was his own goal that decided this 1991 final. The Forest players received their runners-up medals, including now the manager's son, Nigel Clough. They've had a great run, a little bit like Manchester United last season, drawn away from home every time. They played in some thrilling games against Crystal Palace and Newcastle and Southampton and Norwich and West Ham. A lot of people thought their name was on the cup, but Brian Clough didn't believe in any of that sort of nonsense. But he did say before today's game that win, lose or draw, he would be staying to fight another day. Not Nottingham Forest Day. The day, though, belongs to Tottenham Hotspur. There's a one in the year, of course, after all, and they've got another honour. 1901, of course, the FA Cup it all began with, and now Gary Mabbott steps forward, the captain, one of the most popular players in the game. For Tottenham Hotspur, the troubled club, every cloud has a silver lining, and the FA Cup belongs to Spurs. It's silver today, and there's a pot of gold in Europe awaiting as well for Gary Mabbott and Spurs. Mabbott receives the cup from the Duchess of Kent and his winner's medal, gets a handshake as well from Irving Scholar, the club chairman. Spurs, for a record 8th time, have won the FA Cup, and Gary Lineker, for the first time in his distinguished career, receives his first major honour as well. And Paul Stewart, surely the man of the match, perhaps he will be the man to take Paul Gascoigne's winner's medal back to the hospital as Spurs punch the air and celebrate their first trophy since the UEFA Cup of 1984. Terry Venables embracing his backroom staff down there. What a day for Venables, who's now won the FA Cup, of course, as a player and a manager with one club, and so emulated Kenny Dalglish as away to the left. Brian Clough leaves his Nottingham Forest players off the field of play, and Brian Clough, before he leaves Wembley, sticks his thumb up to the Nottingham Forest supporters who've stayed to a man and a woman away to the left there to say, thank you, Brian, you'll be back next year maybe, and perhaps one day, like Stanley Matthews, you will be an FA Cup final winner. But what a remarkable record for Spurs. 1901 the FA Cup, 1921 the FA Cup, 1951 the league, 1961 the double, 1971 the League Cup, 1981 the FA Cup, and now 1991 once again the FA Cup for Tottenham Hotspur.